It's Friday. Live action Cowboy Bebop is not gaining very many fans. And Thandie Newton claims that Star Wars is racist. All that and more this morning on Midnight's Edge in the Morning. I'm Tom Connors. And with me is Andre the Boss Man. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I don't know yet. I haven't decided.
Well, it's Friday and it's early morning, so I'm sure we'll have an answer over the course of the show or something like that. We had a guest that where some events prevented their being here in the very last moment, but we have someone else coming before long. We're still going to have a great topic or a great show for you today. We have some interesting topics to talk about. We have Thandie Newton railing some more on Star Wars, which I'm sure that Kathleen Kennedy will be very happy about. We have some Cowboy Bebop, so everyone into anime, get ready to school us on everything like that.
Yeah, because I've never
seen
it.
What else happens?
But somebody told me to go buy it last night because they had it at Walmart for $30. So I went and bought it. So I haven't seen it yet, though. I couldn't tell you. Never watched it. Never seen it.
Yeah. Well, neither have I, but we don't have to have seen it to comment on the current story making the rounds. And Salon and other, more activist publications having a field day with it, meaning we get to have a field day with them. So that is brilliant. And with that, let us say hi to our wonderful audience. Actioncom is here, and he wonders, will they allow Cowboy Bebop to smoke? I haven't the faintest idea what a Cowboy Bebop is, or if they do smoke, or if Netflix will allow it, but I'm sure that we're going to find out.
It's not on the second Mega Drive, so he won't know.
No, exactly. But someone who evidently does know it is Cultured Casino.
Who I'm sending the link.
You will love it, Tom. So yeah, brilliant stuff.
Just like Scrooge?
And if you have the opportunity to join us, you're most welcome to. And Mark Surkovsky also loves the Bebop anime, and he hopes that they do it justice. Well, you know what? I hope so too, for the sake of all the fans all over the world. But we're going to get into that in the fullness of time. We also have Geek Tropology is here in the chat. Greetings. Sander Hammerslag is here. Erik Runge Madsen is here representing Denmark. Mecha J is here. And my mobile is here also with the sound still on. I'm going to fix that right away. And let's see here. Then we also have Dash Attack is here. Sander Hammerslag is here. So yeah, we have many regulars here, and it's always awesome. Lindsay the Geek is here, and I believe we got a couple of super chats already. Says, hi gents, hello everyone, with the diamond and smiley symbol. So thank you so much for that. That is much appreciated. Our good friend Mike, the Mexican Iron Man, is here in the chat, although he's doing audits. So everyone give him thoughts of patience.
So he's the real auditor.
Yeah, he's a real auditor, indeed.
Unlike Gary's, who just audits souls,
Yeah, Gary J. Tunnicliffe, that is, since we have
I should be clear, yes.
Yes, in this community.
And joining us is the one, the only Culture Casino, and I'm glad that you were the one who told me to go buy that damn thing last night.
I did. Yeah, I said, you know what? If it's that cheap, go get it. You'll love it. I promise you're going to be like, wow, this is really good. And then you're going to watch the Netflix adaptation, and you might have a different opinion.
Well, we're glad you're here because, as you heard, Andre and I have not seen Cowboy Bebop, and
oh man,
that's what everybody's talking about this morning. So
Yeah, I mean, they were going to make some significant changes to it. I mean, they already did. Faye is not represented as she actually is because she's supposed to be Asian. The lady that's playing her isn't, and I thought we were trying to get all the representation we could with certain things. But
we'll get into all that. We also have Diego joining us here.
Diego, even better.
Fresh
Hello,
from
guys.
Midnight Español. How's it going? ¿Qué tal?
Greetings.
Bien, fine. Thank you. Sorry for the tardiness. I got a little tied up with paperwork.
That's all right. We got a couple of super chats to get to, and then we're going to let you and Culture go to town on some Cowboy Bebop.
Indeed. Then you can school us novices on Cowboy Bebop before we then start taking apart why it's
that's
in
enough
the
name
news.
calling there, Andre.
Yeah, well, it's Friday, so what can you do?
I don't even know what that means. I'm kidding, of course.
No, I probably wouldn't have said it if I did, but yeah.
No, I said I don't. I was kidding. I said, of course. But anyway, moving on.
Moving on. We had a couple of classic super chats I can no longer bring up on screen, but I do have them behind the scenes here. And today it was Etienne Falardeau who started us off with $5 Canadian. Thank you so much. And he says, why watch a bad version of Bebop when the original still exists and is easy to get? I guess they will mess up the soundtrack as well. Yes, just hold that thought because we're going to get into that real soon here. Primer says for $5. While it's heartbreaking to see such a beloved anime be tainted by woke tods, it's amusing to see Netflix continue to justify Netflix adaptation memes. Dash Attack says for $19.99. Whoa, thank you so much. The breast controversy is manufactured and part of marketing. The question is why, when Netflix anime Eden's Zero has a breast groping gag played for laughs. It's like someone bakes you a cake, then shames you for liking it. I only the faintest idea what any of this means, but we'll get into that. Hypergiver 2 says for $10. Hey gents, Netflix doesn't seem to understand that this is what killed Bridebusters and massacred Soy Wars. They still have a chance to change course before permanent damage has been done. And Mexican Iron Man said for $19.99, listening on headphone while working at a remote client's office. Hail Andre, Tom, this awesome show and the cool peeps in chat stream. It's Friday. Yes, indeed it is. And we also have some really cool people listening, like a certain Mexican Iron Man, which we greatly appreciate. And Hypergiver 2 said for $5, if they think the reaction from the Star Wars fans was bad, just wait until you piss off the weeps. Koalas be damned. Yeah, I'm excited about that. And then Marigoan says for £5, sadly, this isn't the first time. Mason Alexander tried to mock fans last year over the character of Gren as non-binary, which is actually yikes. And STR Red Wolf said for $10, definitely see the anime Cowboy Bebop. It's on YouTube. If what I'm hearing is true, it's falling under what has to be a law. Every cartoon converted into live action by default is a disaster. So yeah, not too many people who are optimistic in the chat about this. And Cesario JPN says for $2, of course they took Jet Black's name to heart, SMH. And let's see if there's anything more than that we can bring up here. I think we are fairly caught up. So before we start breaking down everything Cowboy Bebop, it would be great if you all could help us out by liking the streaming and helping us share it, which is something this platform doesn't always do a great job doing. Ben Harmons says Cowboy Bebop is a brilliant anime. There is no way that Netflix will do it justice. And then the creative time traveler says, never heard of Cowboy Bebop. I look forward to being educated. Okay, that's a great starting off point right there.
Well, on Planet 628 also says you guys should not admit you've never seen it. Well, would you rather us lie and pretend we have?
We're not gonna lie.
I mean-
If we haven't seen it, we're gonna be straightforward. But you know what? Just because
made
Tom
sure
and
we have
myself
people who
haven't
have.
seen it, we have people here that have seen it. So they're the ones that are going to be talking about this, namely Cultured Casino and Diego. So, gentlemen, as the creative time traveler said, please educate us. What is Cowboy Bebop all about, and why is it so awesome? Let's begin with the anime. Why is it awesome?
I think the best way to describe it would be that the series is much a piece of art because of how the series goes with the music, as well as it's a very interesting kind of dystopia, because when the series was made, it was made like in the future, in the year 2060, 2070, we were be colonizing the planets and the moons on the solar system.
Mhm.
We would be a thriving society, but we also be in a dystopic society that, because of how spread we are, crime would run rampant because it's very difficult in such a large area to control everywhere, right? And
Yep.
so they would allow the creation of professional licensed bounty hunters that we would call cowboys. And that's the whole point of why the first part of the show's name is called Cowboy.
Yeah.
So that's
Bebop
a bounty
is a
hunter
ship.
then.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a bounty
yeah.
hunter show.
Yeah, and Bebop's the actual ship that they traverse space in, and they patrol the space lanes, and they go about hunting bounties, and it's the story is about the characters that are different extensions of the creator's personality that aren't actually his personality. They're the opposite of himself. So he actually did a lot of soul searching. He was thinking about the characters pretty deeply when he was writing them. And Faye, the character that seems to be at the center of today's controversy or yesterday's controversy or whenever, is a con artist, in addition to being a bounty hunter. And she's being kind of hunted for a giant debt that she owes, from her collectors and so on and so forth. But anyway, Diego, go ahead.
As Culture eloquently said, yes, there are different sides of the main artist's vision. Okay, because also it's a very interesting dynamic, because you have first the what you call the lazy schlub, but happy-go-lucky, doesn't care about anything, but really in the deep inside, he is a caring person, but still has this very nihilistic vision of the world because he has seen much worse things when he was a criminal, which is Spike, the protagonist, the one who we see everything from his point of view.
Mhm.
Then you have the con artist, who's Faye, who's also a femme fatale. She knows how to use herself in certain situations, as well as she knows how to use her brains when she has to, and when she has to use guns or combat in general. Yeah. Then you have Jet Black, which is more like a father figure or an older brother for the case of Spike. So he takes this role of, because you see this hulking mass of muscle, you think he's just a brute, he's just a brawler. But the guy's also in charge of cleaning the place, cooking, maintaining everything in order, maintaining sure that Spike doesn't go on a suicide run again. Mm-hmm. And also he takes care of the kid on the ship, and he takes care of the dog.
Yeah. And he's very much a father figure. He's cool. I mean, he is the moral authority on the ship, and it's because of his previous profession. So, but he is.
What's his previous profession?
I think he was retired police officer, if I remember correctly. Or he worked in military. He was police officer, I think. But but anyway. Yeah, and it was. I mean, like I said, I mean, he's kind of like the dad on the ship, in a lot of other ways. And then, of course, everybody knows about Ein. Ein is the cutest little corgi in the world. And it was, I mean, he's genetically enhanced and is just he's a personality unto himself, and he does some fun stuff. And the uniqueness of the show was how realistic it felt, even being set in the future, in this dystopian, as Diego described it, like 2070-ish, somewhere in there. You felt like the seriousness of it. It was because and you get really invested in these characters. I promise you, that's the other cool thing about the show, is you get very invested in an animation show in the characters. which I mean you don't get that very often. I mean you have to reach back in time to like Fern Gully and other similar animations to like really be attached to these things, or maybe the first Toy Story movie. But you had this beautiful art style. I mean, the art style is fantastic for anime. This is the perfect anime art style. This art style and the art style, like I mentioned, I think the last couple of streams I've been on is The Last Exile. Those are the kinds of anime that I like. Very dimensional, but still 2D animation. Very cool stuff. And it's beautiful, but then there are still moments of levity that kind of break some of the tension, and the show is divided up much like you would like any serialized television program that you wanted to keep your audience invested in, and there are elements that kind of leave you hanging. And of course the story of Gren, I think somebody mentioned it in the chat. That's actually a really positive story to pull, to take away from, and something that was done years and years ago. So it's just, you look at this show and it is, I mean, it's one of the best animes out there. And it was one that they didn't have to change any of the language of, because there wasn't a lot of adult language in it, in the first place. So when they translated it, they didn't have to do a lot to adjust it to English, which is kind of rare. And then, now we've gone through a series of licenses and you ended up with some merch that's pretty amazing. And I don't know how else to describe it. We kind of broke it down, essentially what it is. And I don't want to give it away because there's a lot in this show that you get pure enjoyment from the first time you experience it. It is,
I think the best way to describe it is that it's one of the few shows that the sole fact of its opening, the jazz opening that goes 3, 2, 1, let's go, and then it goes into this jazz movement, is like, it's so perfect. It gets you in the hype of the whole series as a whole with just that intro. That's it. You just get that, and you already get a feeling how the show is going to be, because it has this kind of feeling of, there's the ups, there's downs, showing the levity as well as the tension, the kind of vibe and lifestyle they have. It's all matched up in the jazz. Yeah. So it's something very weird that very few shows in general, I'm not talking just anime, but like TV in general, movies in general, very few have something like that. That's the intro goes.
Yeah, and that's true. And Fearter, you're right. They were going to try and use a husky, and that wasn't. I mean, that wasn't going to fly with anybody, and it was dumb.
Wait, so they wanted to use a husky instead of the corgi? Is that what you just said?
Yes.
Because a corgi, that's kind of like any kind of dog is iconic in a given setting. But if in this case, then everyone keep in mind, I am not well versed in Cowboy Bebop, but just from you gentlemen, I have come to understand that there is a corgi, and then presumably that corgi is something of a big deal to the fan base. And if someone at Netflix then wanted to replace that corgi with a husky, and to be clear, I love huskies, but really that doesn't speak very well of the intent for the show if someone seriously had that idea.
I have a theory on that one, though. It's quick, but I think what they did is, remember how I talked about the He-Man thing? The new anime show is basically set on data. Most likely, they use data where it points that people are more like when they ask favorite dog breeds, huskies always appear on the top. In any ranking they put, huskies are always there, and most likely.
Yeah, but that's because they're beautiful to look at, not because anyone has had any dealings with them.
Yes.
I mean, for people that have dealings with them, they will drop very sharply on that ranking.
Yes, I know, but that's the thing. Most people, they only see in data sets thinking, what can we do to, get attention?
Yeah. Well, all right. Anyway, moving on. So that to me, that's like a huge red flag right there, that they wanted to replace the corgi with really any other dog, whether that be a husky or a Shiba Inu. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, after that, just to summarize the show and to tell people, like, watch Cowboy Bebop if you can, because it's one of those few that I feel that you're not going to feel you're watching an anime per se, okay? You're more going to feel like you're watching a crime story develop.
Yeah.
So especially for you, Andre and Tom, that you don't feel too much of a pull to anime in general. I think it's a very good one for you to try to get the feeling, because it's a very, like, if they took out the animation, the anime style, and they use something different but same quality, from, let's call it, the more Western views of the
Mhm.
90s,
Mhm.
I think you would still be going, like, you would watch it either way, be it anime or that, because of the fact how solid the story is, the characters, the music, the ideas, everything, how well made it's done. It's a very solid package.
Yeah, and and it's funny. I mean, I think some of the hopefully they keep in some of the stuff like that actually introduces the characters along the way. Like your introduction to Ein, like we were just talking about Ein, again, Ein is, I mean, it's the thing that pulls your heartstrings. It's sometimes it's the funny thing in the
Mhm.
show. Ein is a treat for the audience, right? It's the very few moments that you are endeared to a character like Harley Quinn from DC. I mean, it's like, because there are moments that she's endearing, but Ein is just always endearing. And again, I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. This is a crime show 100%, and Diego's 100% right. You could change this. You could change this from anime to Western animation, and it would translate perfectly. You could wrap a whole universe around this story, and you could do that. It's just
Mhm.
you would try to keep it pure, and that's the problem and my fear when it comes to this adaptation, because we've already had them trying to make changes here and there, and they've
Mhm.
already made a character change, or a couple of them, and that caused me concern going way back when this thing was being talked about. I think that goes even back in 2017. I think that was all the way back then we were talking about it.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
mean, the plans were mentioned in 2015, the first time
Oh
somebody
wow.
mentioned it, like the idea.
Wow.
And then in 2017, Netflix sort of made it concrete that, yes, we're going to do it.
And originally, despite maybe not the exact build, I thought John Cho was going to be excellent as Spike. Right.
Mhm.
I want that to be true. But some of the pictures, some of the images that we were given a few days ago, it kind of concerned me a little bit. I don't know if he can pull off the kind of the occasional goofy charm that Spike
Mhm.
has. I don't know.
Yes. And just since story culture touched upon it,
Yeah.
I think we can talk about the whole controversy, starting with the pictures, right? The problem that most people saw, like the Jet Black one, yes, I know they race swapped him, but I think that's the minute one, because Jet Black is more character driven than really, like by his the physical appearance. Except
Yeah.
Mustafa, he's huge, so
Yeah.
he can fit at least the build he has, and physically speaking, at least on the build and the projection of he will match Jet Black. So in
Yeah.
that part, I can get it. Now the question will be, how does he make the role? Because the problem is, Jet Black, even though he's a serious cop, he is a very fatherly figure, very
Mhm.
comic figure, especially with
Yeah.
the dog.
Yeah.
So the question is, will he be able to do it? And this is what I talked about yesterday. The problem is, we don't know what the script will be, because maybe, yes, they have the acting chops. So the problem is, that the script is bad. No matter how good they are, it's going to be bad.
Yeah, and we went into that in All Entertainment, Diego. You and I've talked about that at length before. Is if you can have a great property, you can have something that you can adapt that's just brilliant. But if you are trying to shove a bunch of stuff into it that wasn't there to begin with, you end up with these problems.
Mm-hmm.
I want things to be good. I've reached that stage now where I can cheer on the destruction of it all, but this needs to be good. And I don't even know if the introduction, I don't, because they're not supposedly not going beat for beat with the anime series. I don't know how they're going to introduce all these characters, and I don't know that they can necessarily even get all of season one from the anime into season one of a live action. Oh gosh, this is ridiculous.
Yes, and I was going to touch about Faye's actress, and here's the fun part. Put play.
I was gonna let
Yes.
you guys want me to get it now. I was just getting it set up here.
Yeah,
This is some of the dumbest shit I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Before
Especially,
before we get into that,
Yeah.
I want to do some more super chats, see what you all have to say and what you all think about it so far.
yeah.
Then we're gonna play the clip. But now we've gotten an introduction to Cowboy Bebop. I honestly had no idea, so I have to say this was very enlightening to me, at the very least.
I could have
So
watched almost the whole series in that amount of time. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah.
I'm being an ass.
But yeah, moving on with the super chats. Valiant Renegade, our good friend,
Hey!
who you should go and check out and subscribe to, because he has some truly great analytical content. So if you like the kind of analytical breakdowns we do here, go check out Valiant Renegade as well. And he says for $9.99, hail friends. Spending the morning at home getting ready for IDA. Glad to have some intellectual conversation to keep company with. Well, indeed. Well, if you're home and you have the opportunity, you're of course welcome to join us. And STR Red Wolf says for $5, in the anime, Jet Black's English voice actor is black, so having it played by a black isn't too much of a surprise. And says some very sensible advice for everyone. Please hit that like button.
Yeah.
And she didn't say this, but I will also add, share that stream. The Wall says, not many people know this, but Firefly was actually inspired by Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, it did sound somewhat similar. Guys, how old is Cowboy Bebop? As in, when did that whole thing come to be? Are there many different versions of it? Has it been like one long series? Like, what are we talking about here in terms of what is comprised under the Cowboy Bebop title?
Let's see. Cowboy Bebop was originally a manga, if I'm remembering correctly, but I read it many years ago, from 97 till 98. And then you had the television series from 98, and Tokyo broadcast, and it was, I think, transmitted originally around the world from 98 to 99, 26 episodes, 2 standard seasons. So it was a pretty standard model at the time, especially because if you consider the fact that the manga is only 2 volumes. That's a very strange thing, because most manga that are this popular always are usually stories are still going, or at least have.
So it's kind of more
50
like
volumes?
a graphic novel almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. So, but we've seen precedents for this. I mean, you have many things that started out as one thing, but the concept was so good that it was expanded upon considerably. Case in point, Dexter. It was like 1 book, later 5 books, but they went with the first 2 books to make that whole TV series. And you also have like movies that have been expanded to a whole series when the concept was there. So this isn't too surprising then. So basically, then it started out with what we would call 2 graphic novels, and then it grew from there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then moving on a little bit with the comments here. Gundam Warrior 1 says for $5, I'm more a fan of Outlaw Star for my sci-fi western needs. However, I'm still just as irritated by the dismissive attitude of Hollywood towards fans. And then there's a couple of more here, but there's one I want to discuss at greater length. So for right now, let's play this clip. And that's the one I want to get back into afterwards.
Okay.
But before then, Valiant Renegade says live-action adaptations of anime are in and of themselves a quasi-abomination to begin with. Not interested.
You know, I'm glad Valiant brought this up, because this is something I've brought up, I don't know, at least 5 or so times now about anime in general. It's like, isn't it kind of defeating the purpose to try and do a live-action anime? Because it's like, isn't that kind of the whole point? Is like, that's the carrier, that's the art style. It's because I remember bringing this up when what was it, Ghost in the Shell and whatever other major one they had recently, because it's like, to me it feels like what makes it unique is the art style, right? Like, it's a story that can be told just about any way usually, or something that can't be told any other way, right? Like, that's why I feel like Valiant is onto something here. Is like, is anime really something that should be even adapted into live action? Now, don't get me wrong, Cowboy Bebop at least sounds like something that could be done.
That's
But
not going to stop them from trying at the very
of course
least.
not. But I mean,
I think what's like something that should be important to be like to inform you guys is the fact that in Japan, for example, there's a whole industry dedicated to just trying to bring anime to live action adaptations. And I'll be honest, because I've watched them, they're god awful. Okay, most of them. Very few are successful. And we're talking about Japan, the place where this thing is born. Okay? The people who would understand the culture and the sort of nuances and subtleties from the stories. And even then, it's not good. Very few are good. So in itself, as Tom is saying, yes,
I'm getting
anime,
a lot of support for that in the chat, so I'm assuming I'm on the right track there.
yes, that's right. Anime is correct. Anime is a medium that very, very rarely does it translate correctly to live action. Just a few like Samurai X, Rurouni no Kenshin, because that's a story, a manga, and an anime that's based on a historical setting that happened in our world. So it's much easier for the translation. But other things like Attack on Titan, Full Metal Alchemist, like very popular manga and anime, okay? There are live action adaptations made in Japan. Jesus Christ, don't watch it. Don't watch it at all.
I was going to say, I can't even imagine, watching a live action adaptation of Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know how you'd make that work.
And it wasn't Netflix. I saw it. It was, I had an aneurysm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to look at it. Holy cow.
Melvin Belliard says go back to that one again, Tom. Melvin Belliard says for $20, good afternoon, Midnight's Edge crew. I love Cowboy Bebop, the story, the characters, all of it. Although I will give it a shot, but what the actress just came out and said, and they still haven't shown Ed Wood or even if they're bringing her. Yes, hold that thought, and thank you so much for the $20. They will go a long way in keeping the lights on. And that is something that allows us to bring on such esteemed guests like Cultured and Diego, plus who is joining us right now, Valiant Renegade. Greetings, how are you?
Good morning, guys. Good to see you all, and that's a great segue, Andre. That well done.
I do try. I do love my segues.
Yeah, greetings all. And just for the record, Andre, and I didn't think about this because I'm like, he probably has no idea. The first super chat, it's not IDA, it's IDA. It's the hurricane we're about to get popped with.
Oh, right. Okay, IDA. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I've been paying attention to other parts of American
I didn't
news.
think about it. I'm like, Andre's in North. He has no idea what the hell that is. So, yeah, no, we're guys like me and Clobbering Times out there and a few other of us on YouTube in Louisiana. We're about to get this thing. Now, for us, it's kind of, we're used to it, but of course, everybody cannot help but notice. Well, here we go on the 16th anniversary of Katrina. We're about to get this thing to make landfall almost exactly to the hour. So, wow. Yeah, here we go.
So who gets blamed for this one?
Yeah, I was about to say, so like I know that the previous administration had like their Katrina moments. Maybe this administration can be left with an Ida moment in addition to everything else going on.
Are you kidding? They're going to be praised for everything they do.
Yes, Tom is correct. That's it. There's not going to be anybody going on TV saying, George Bush blew up the levees and all this kind of crazy crap we had back then. I mean, it was off the wall nutbag stuff. But
I remember the South Park parody. It was hilarious.
Exactly.
I didn't see the
wood,
news,
I think the worst it will.
I got everything I needed from South Park.
But on Melvin going off of Melvin Belliard's super chat, let's check out this video which I took from Stephanie's Twitter.
Yeah, Stephanie
saw this.
Thanks, Steph.
I listened to this, and this is my fucking god.
I'm gonna
all right. We'll comment afterwards. Here we go.
Hey guys, so as you know, our Cowboy Bebop first look dropped today, which was so exciting. And I just wanted to address a couple of things that sort of keep coming up in the comments amongst fans. First, I wanted to apologize to the fans that I did not anatomically match the Faye Valentine character. 6 foot, double D size breast, 2-inch waist. You know, they looked everywhere for that woman and they couldn't find her. It's kind of weird. So they just went with my short ass.
Damn right.
Am I right? You know, there was talk about like, can we put Daniela in a time machine and maybe give her different parents so she has different genetic information to sort of make her look better? It proved to be too complicated. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was I want to apologize that the outfit I'm wearing is not exactly what she wears in the anime. You know, we tried, but doing stunts in tissue paper, things disappear, they rip. Sometimes it just got lost. Anyway, like I was saying, that original costume, they made a couple of them, but like I said, they got sort of slurped up in my various crevices, never to be retrieved again. So we needed to really build something that could withstand.
Then you need to check your crevices, lady.
Just, you know.
Okay, first of all, this is coming from the same fucking people who claim that you can't play a blind person unless you're blind. You can't play a quadriplegic person unless you're quadriplegic. You can't play this unless you're this or that and the other. And then she's, the stupidity in that entire video. My God, gentlemen, please.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the amount of hypocrisy is just off the scale. And I mean, look, don't get me wrong, folks. I'm not a Cowboy Bebop guy. I've never really watched it that much. I've got a kid that knows it backwards and forwards. And I'm finishing Attack on Titan now, and probably Bebop is the next thing on the list. But that being said, look, this is an attractive woman. No denying that. She's very pretty, but she obviously doesn't fit the body type, the appearance of the original character. And there's been some criticisms of it. But just like, gentlemen, the conversation we were having last night on Mead with the article that Scripps sent us from the Hollywood Reporter about why Cobra Kai is so successful, this chick just violated every tenet of that damn article.
Which I think it's like get to here actually a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, when her response is, you could have let this go away and die down. It would have gone away in a few days. The fact that she has to get out there and if she was calm and kind of nice about it, but she came across as very snarky and she's chiding the fans, the people who are going to make this show or not make this show money. And she's basically taking them to task for bringing up legitimate, this does not look like this. And like I said in the super chat, this is my always concern about when you go live action with anime, you're defeating the purpose. And this is the kind of crap that's going to happen. And I think she did the whole show and herself a disservice by taking fans to task in that manner.
Yeah. Culture.
Yeah. I just wanted to chime in. Way to go build relations with the built-in fans. I mean, Salon and the Twitterati, they don't love her for it. And we'll get into that afterwards. But
as Diego brought up here, there's a lot of cosplayers who've been able to pull this off.
Oh yeah, I linked in the private chat from June, Bounding into Comics, showing 20 women that cosplayed this character very well, right? And this woman, this lady, you remember, you're not supposed to appropriate other cultures and stuff, right? This is the other thing. You can't play a blind person like Tom just brought up. She's Mexican American. Right. And she's already spilling into all this intersectionality, all this other garbage that we hate in these things, the woke stuff. Right. She's spilling that all out and turning people off. They think that this is good marketing, and you know what, they're gin up controversy, and you're ultimately going to pay the price for this, and they do. This is the thing. Netflix has paid the price every time they've gone down this path with the churn rate for their subscribers. So I mean, you will turn off people to your whole streaming service because you have this kind of marketing strategy, if that's indeed what this is. But she doesn't fit the Asian character that this is supposed to be, and she doesn't fit the body type, and she doesn't. I mean, there's a lot of things here, and she thinks it's because of the horny male garbage. No, we want these things. If you're going to bother to do a live action adaptation, go to the wall with it. Right. That's the only respectable way to go about it. Right. I mean, for as much trash that is thrown at Aeon Flux, right, I still thought that at least aesthetically it looked like the original, animated clips. But
I
hey,
agree with you.
What do I know?
Master Clockwork here points out that Faye is 5'6", by the way, of
she's not tall.
Singaporean descent, not Latinx.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was actually I was gonna say comment about that. The problem here is also the fact that, and this is something we talked on Midnight is Español the other time when we compared Supergirl's costume, the new movie, right? Pablo is experienced on the concept of cosplays and costume making in general, and he described how inefficient Hollywood costume making was. And I think the problem is how she complained about how the different suits and they went with this at the end is because in these kinds of productions, they're not taking into account the anatomy of the person they're trying to build when they make the costume.
Well,
so they can't make
They
it.
never tried any other outfits.
No, but
This
I
was
mean
the
in
plan
general.
from the start.
No, but I mean in general in the industry, they never try to take into account. And that's why I feel that they don't do it. They don't take it because it's like, why do it? It's so hard. We don't know and I don't want to be embarrassed kind of scenario.
Well, it's
That's
just
the problem.
ridiculous. And not only that, I mean, there could be the opposite argument made. I'm sure there's lots of tall women who don't get a lot of roles. Why aren't they being considered for this? There's a ton of them out there. I mean, there's a lot of women I can think of from the past 30 years as far as actresses that were very tall. Why is it so difficult?
It isn't, but 5'6" isn't that tall. And she was so hyperbolic about her waist size. She said 2-inch waist. She did that for effect, right? I mean, because Faye doesn't look, uncharacteristically, thin. She looks like, most of the people that I went to, school with in college and when I became an adult, most of the ladies at that point in time, they didn't have significant girth, for lack of a better way to describe it. Their waists were standard size. They had hip flares. They had, they had a shape. And now actresses are actually being selected to look like boxes. I don't get it.
No, I went to the grocery store today to load up. I mean, the grocery store was a madhouse, totally packed today because of this hurricane coming in. I'm going to tell you right now, I saw a dozen women that looked like she was describing that don't exist. Well, I was at the fucking grocery store. I don't understand.
And like here in Norway, I mean, if you throw a rock in a random direction, you're going to find someone with that general body type.
Well, that reminds me of that was the joke in Beverly Hills Cop 2. Yeah, 6-foot blondes growing trees out here.
And especially around Norway, you got the Swedish bikini team right next door.
And I guess that's supposed to be blonde, but I mean, it's like, come on, give me a break here. And I get it. Okay, fine. That's not even the point. That's not even the point she should be making.
Yeah.
But I mean, she just turned me off just from the attitude, like just the way she talked to us. And I'm not even a fan, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, lady.
Why do a piss take on the fans? Why get on there and say this? Why? And these Hollywood contracts, if they have any sense when they hire these people, Netflix, Disney, I don't give a shit who. You're going to have to start muzzling these people in contracts. Like, your dumbass can't get on social media. You can't go out there. You could be on social media, but you cannot talk about your character, your role, the show, nothing. I mean, this is the only thing, because this kind of crap is what sinks television and movies.
It does. And you know what? That's the thing, is if I ever get to my dream ultimately of being able to produce this massive sci-fi epic that I want to I want to license from the author. If I ever get to that point, every single one of those contracts are going to put a muzzle on them. It's going to say, you know what? You can talk about the show only in positive ways. And the minute you attack a fan, you're going to surrender half of your salary.
Guys, sorry, carry on, and then I have a question. But no, carry on. I don't think you were finished.
No, it's fine. I mean, that's the point. Is you have to make it so that there are financial penalties and future penalties to keep these people in check. Because in the old days, of the studio, they weren't allowed to talk. Everything was vetted. Their conversations, even on the talk show circuit, right? Johnny Carson had a list of questions he was handed, kind of like a certain person in our Oval Office right now, but not to get political. He's handed a certain list of questions to ask, and the person sitting in the chair had a certain way that they were supposed to respond to those things when they were showing a clip or promoting a film or a project they were involved in. PR was strictly controlled by the studios. And one of the reasons we had Hollywood stars, superstars, right? The celebrity culture that developed was because they kept their damn mouths closed, because you were able to elevate. Now they want so desperately to connect with the people that they find themselves at odds with 50% of the people or more at times, because they're stating an opinion that they have on whatever it is, the sky's, mauve today or whatever, it's just, but that's the difference between then and now, right? Is they have free reign to loose their lips on social media.
And it's not a matter of free speech, just for people out there wondering. This is, when you sign on to a contract, you're going to do a show, you're going to do a movie or something like this. You're agreeing to certain things. I agree to this, these metrics of performance, and the studio agrees to this metric of payment. So if the studio wants to put in there, it's like, look, it's like, we're going to pay you this, but you cannot, this is what you can say in public about this. It's the same thing, in concept of an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. You can't go out there and talk about what we're doing on set. This is the same kind of thing. It's like they're going to have to get these actors, because this is so bad these days, to where they go out and this kind of shit costs studios millions of dollars, tens of millions, hundreds of millions in the cases of things like Star Wars and whatnot, Star Trek. But, you're going to have to get to a point where it's going to be like, you're not allowed to talk about this. Fans go on Twitter and all this kind of stuff, and they say this and that. As long as you're involved in this and collecting a paycheck from us, you're not allowed to go out and then turn around and snark at fans on your Twitter page. That's again, this is, you agree to get a paycheck, you need to agree to the terms. Otherwise, you're free to say what you want, but you're not going to get paid. This is how contracts work. This is how contract law has worked in the United States for 250 freaking years. That's it.
Yeah, no, and then to get back into the point that I was making here, because now I want to bring up that super chat we had earlier. To everyone sending super chats, we really appreciate it. We are going to get to every last super chat before we're done here, but right now I want to bring up one that I can no longer bring up on screen. So you're just going to have to listen. Camilo Villegas said for $10, there is no way that Netflix didn't know the chaos that this would create and allow a newbie actor be sarcastic to fans. It just doesn't make sense unless they are making money out of the chaos. And this is actually something that I wanted to ask you guys about. Consider the comment that we had earlier from Kevin Smith in relation to the whole Netflix He-Man debacle, when he was like, aren't you freaked out over the backlash? And he was like, we're fine, we're safe as kittens. Do you think that there's a chance that Netflix actually want this, that this is their idea of doing marketing? Because when actors doing this, putting this out there, I agree with you completely. You would think that this is something that an employer would strike down upon, and hard. But we've seen time and again that they don't. And this, in some ways, almost to me, seems like it's encouraged. What do you think about that?
I think they just
Could
don't know any
Netflix have
better.
been informed, and are they behind this in some way?
I don't
wouldn't
know if
say-
they're behind this. I mean, I think the culture out there these days, you see in Hollywood, Netflix thinks that it's a part of that, and this is cool. I think at least at some level, not all of Netflix, and this goes for any other studio out there, where they're not tapped into every moment of every contracted actor performer's life out there. And it's like Twitter and TikTok and Facebook, or what the hell ever, YouTube, it's become so commonplace for people just to have reactions like that I think they just, that's just kind of how it rolls. I think the tides over the next few years are going to start to turn, and some of the things I'm talking about are going to start to become more commonplace, where it's like, no, you you can't go out there and do this, because the writing's on the wall for a lot of these guys, that this is not, they're not getting the revenues that they should be getting from some of these shows. And somebody's going to figure that out. More and more people are going to figure that out. What we've been talking about on places like this on Midnight's Edge for a long time. So give it time. We'll see.
I honestly disagree. I think it's on purpose. I think they know exactly what they're doing.
I think so
they've
too.
Admitted.
You mean the top levels we're talking about?
Oh yeah, I think that they're doing this on purpose.
I
They're
think
doing
so
it
too.
to send out a signal to all the woke folk that, guess what, kids, we're scaring out all the white males so you can come in. It's a safe space. This is the same thing they do, and they've admitted it. Like, this isn't even a conspiracy. This isn't even, me just positing bullshit. Like, no. This is clearly something they have admitted to doing. They think if they make it as woke as fucking possible, if they piss off the original fans, which they always figure is a bunch of 40-year-old white males, they don't take into consideration that, anybody else could like something. That's the other problem. That's the big fallacy, is they have in their brains that all these properties are owned and controlled by 40-year-old white men. So the only way that we're going to get rid of them is to make it wokier than fuck, make them feel like shit, make them feel like, or point out that they're nothing but bigots and misogynists and all this other bullshit to make them. It's the Ghostbusters playbook, kids.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think they think it's cool right now to an extent, but like the big top brass, and by that I mean I'm talking about the people that control the voting shares of stock, like we were talking about last night with Disney. It's gonna come to a head when it's like, well, when the subscribers continue to stall and reverse, and when the viewership keeps, for every new program coming out that is rife with this shit, keeps going down, there's going to be a turning point. Right now, the marketing directors of all these studios are millennial, 30-year-olds that, to them, this is all they know. This is cool. Get out there, shout out your truth and all this crap. And they have no never mind towards what the revenues are and what the effects are from the business side. That's a lagging factor for these people. I said, but that's why I think over the next couple of years, that's why I think that, and we're starting to see some of that now, where that tide is going to turn. And it's not, like I said, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a big boat. It takes a long time to turn a big boat like this. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll put it into this context. It's something we talk about a lot in the other channel. The fact that, like in the case of Latin America, why anime is so important for us? Because we're in basically an entire region of the world that didn't really produce anything that is entertainment until the 2000s era, when things became cheaper. So we imported a lot of stuff. Anime was number one amongst those things. And when we see these kinds of things, especially in a region where 80% of the population follows a religion that is followed by conservatives and have very conservative views, even with people who would you call millennials, okay? The problem is they don't understand the position they're in when they let these things happen, be it that they know about it, be it that they just don't care and they let them talk and they don't put any oversight nor control, which happens at times. The problem is they don't see that the failings of this strategy, let's call it, for lack of a better term, even though I call it the headless chicken, that the fact that people, like, how they react and how they attack the viewers, and they assume the viewers are a certain generation or group, because I mean they assume I'm a 40-year-old man. I'm 31. I'm basically part of their generation, and even then I oppose them, and I'm a fan of this series, and I oppose what they're making out of all this. That shows something. And the fact that Netflix is right now bleeding subscribers when they should be trying to get more subscribers, especially in regions like Latin America, Africa, Europe, Asia. But instead, they're bleeding them dry here in the US, be it subscriptions are being canceled or charging them more. And then when they come to the continent, they don't give us crap. They don't try to give us stuff. At least Disney Plus gave us an entire year for 50% off in Peru, for example. Okay? Netflix has never done that. HBO Max, the same thing. They at least gave us something because they have some understanding that the region is not as wealthy as the US. But Netflix, meanwhile, doesn't, and they're losing and losing. And they also have this idea that they don't understand, especially in the US in general, the models of certain countries where It's not common that everybody has a subscription. It's more common that one person has it, has a family package, and then many people watch it, be it they go at the same person's place or each one shares the account and they all get together and watch it. Because here the culture of watching is group watching. It's not watching on your own in general. Yes, I know that the current situation has made it a bit more solitary experience, but in general, cultures promotes that idea of that. And because they're not doing that, they're not responding correctly. It's like, here we're gonna like my friends are watching right now, they're watching us right now. One of them says like, I don't give a crap about the Netflix thing.
Yeah. Another one says, "Preach it, Diego, andante," and that would be Polly.
Hey, Polly.
I'll just wait for the sequel, Cowboy Rocksteady. Anyway, that was a bad joke. I know, very bad joke.
Well, anyway, yeah, we didn't need to.
got it.
Diego, carry on. Continue speaking the truth.
Yes,
Please.
so that's the problem here. Like I see it in terms as well as having the background of economists. I see the fact that streaming services are not taking into account the kind of audiences they have. They only measure everything based on a very American audience. Not even, we can include Canada a bit, yes, but not even Europeans, because I know I have friends in Europe who they are not very pro to this kind of vision. Okay, they don't like them when they change things. So it's like they're sort of losing touch with their base. Because before, Netflix was sort of an alternative that at least was more open. You could see more things that other media was already being more controlling. You know,
Yep.
You could see movies that were family friendly, but had more adult themes with it that Disney would never put. But now they're becoming more like that because the whole industry is like that. And yes, as Valiant mentioned, most likely the pendulum it's already starting to swing back to a more medium, normal, let's call it. Okay, but it's going to take time, as Andreas also said in his analogies of the boat. It's not going to be instantaneous. It's going to take time. We're still going to see these things. But the problem is right now, Netflix is in a situation where they're competing in their primary market, the US. They're competing with so many other streaming services that they're starting to take out stuff that is more alluring, at least for the common audience, or is more at least entertaining than what they have. I mean, do you think Cobra Kai will sustain them permanently? No. At one point, it's going to finish. And then what's going to be next?
Well, and Stranger Things is going to flop here soon. I mean, you've got a lot of things that are going to disappear, and you're not wrong, Diego. I mean, VR and I are always talking about the ARPU of these streaming services as they expand globally, and those numbers go down substantially in countries that don't have the kind of citizenry and the earnings of those citizenry, whereas currently India is the least profitable location to open your streaming service. But there are so many people there, they think they're making it up in volume. They're not, because distribution costs, delivery is very expensive, believe it or not. I mean, I didn't realize how much they were paying for that over there. And, and you have services, as someone said in the chat, for example, Netflix lost nearly 500,000 people, according to a report in July, 500,000 subscribers. And that, if you don't think that takes a heavy hit, especially if those are North American subscribers, which they were, that is a lot of money.
How much of that was due to He-Man?
Can't say
because that would have been before He-Man.
Yeah, the report came out July 21st.
Okay.
That was their second quarter report, Andre. And no, Culture's right, because I just looked it up because I knew that was going to come up. Just for everybody out there, so you understand, let's give an example that everybody can relate to. If you subscribe to the annual Disney Plus subscription here in the US, right now it's at about, I think it went up because there was a price increase. It's about $90.
Mm-hmm.
The annual subscription in India, I just pulled up, $20 for the whole year. 20 equivalent US dollars. I mean, it's in rupees, but it's so you're subsidizing those markets. So to Diego's point, why they don't look outward from North America, US and Canada, is because their average revenue per users, and this is virtually across the board. It's Disney, it's Netflix, it's Discovery Plus, it's HBO Max, all these guys. This is where they make their bread and butter.
Yeah.
All these other markets out there are being heavily subsidized by much higher priced US subscriptions.
Yeah. I mean,
and when Disney has all their growth in India, like they have the last couple of quarters, like Culture, like I think that's what you're about to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great, But when you look at it, it's like, hey, we added 10 million subs. Well, shit, your average revenue per user dropped another, what was it, Culture? Another 15% this quarter? It went from 465 to 415.
Yeah, and it was at 472 at the beginning of the year, right? And it just kept dropping quarterly. They're killing themselves, and it's because their ARPU in India is less than 70 cents now. It went down again.
Yep.
So
they try to make up for it on the advertising subscription version, but it's just because they have to pay so much overhead there, like Culture said, to be in the market. And then, of course, there's revenue sharing and things like that.
Delivery system.
It's like,
Yeah. But I mean, but think about this also. There is a culture component that determines a market.
Yeah.
When you go to the US, anime is not really something. It's now starting to vamp up. But I mean, if you compare how many years of anime have existed other parts of the world and the impact they have, or any other thing like Disney, for example, here in Latin America, the fact of the matter is they've dropped the ball because there's so many places where they could have done something. They could have worked it out, like creating their own network, creating their own infrastructure to help supplement that, right?
Yeah.
And then work on that. They could have, but they didn't think about it. They don't think about it in the near future, like in the long term. They always think on the short term, and they think, okay, we have dominance here. Yes, you say the American market subsidizes, but the problem is because they think they will always have the attention of the American market. But again, it's like culturally speaking, if you say somebody in the U.S. from my generation, like the 90s kids, you tell them Knights of the Zodiac, 90% of them don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. Yeah. You say Caballeros del Zodiaco to anybody in Latin America, oh my God, we all start singing the song.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about most of the time, Diego, so...
Don't worry, Tom.
But you're right, Diego. I mean, and that's the other thing. I mean, some of the best content that Netflix has had out there isn't the stuff that a lot of people think about. It's because you're having amazing content coming out of Central and South America like crazy. Narcos was one of my favorite productions, right? Yeah, and Netflix is now, and many of these other streaming services are being held to when they enter countries that they have to produce X% of material in that country using X% of their market, their demographics, and they have to be represented in the shows. And I'm like, that's great, because at least South America is going to be able to maintain the element of machismo. Central America will be able to maintain that. Mexico will be able to maintain that and be culturally relevant in those markets. And as long as I can still have access to those shows, here in the States, these are still products that speak to me. But you're not going to be able to go the other direction. You're going to turn off this audience that you're trying to appeal to if you're producing the kinds of content that don't represent the human experience anywhere. Right? I mean, we're having some problems right now with what we're getting here in North America. And again, we try to export our culture around the world. We always have. Success makes other people want to emulate success. Well, they're tearing down that very element of success and trying to export I'm going to say the words, this very soy product out to the rest of the world, and the rest of the world doesn't want it. So I'll stick to everything coming in. I'll stick to anime now because it's not been corrupted as of yet, unless you buy the recent, stuff that's been, the words have been changed in the, in the translations, the localizations. But go ahead, Diego. I know this is kind of your wheelhouse.
Yeah, and also something that was highlighted that Chris mentioned to Andrea, that said that the important thing about Faye was that her beauty masked her cunning. Let your guard down around her, at your peril you will lose your ship. that kind of idea. That's also part of the problem we have with this Faye Valentine Netflix. You don't see that. You see it's more a girl who grew up watching, I don't know, Indiana Jones and wants to be an explorer with the suit that she has and and how the pictures shown her and her reaction.
She's a con artist, right, Diego? She's a con artist in the show. She tricks people more often than not, and she uses the veneer of her appearance to disarm anybody, and that's kind of the whole point of a femme fatale. They disarm.
She's what Black Widow used to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, what I think we really need on the panel right now is a female perspective.
Oh yes, for sure.
Oh yes.
And bring it in. We one of the most lovely
Speaking of
ladies
cunning and beautiful, to
ever
use
met.
the previous keywords,
and smartest women I've ever met, and keeps my shit in order. Because if it wasn't for her toxic femininity, it would be just a shambles. Miss Lorena Creel, how you doing?
Oh, how you guys doing? Got me blushing over here.
Well, you know damn well if it was just me and Mandy, it'd be a bunch of critters and Oreos everywhere, just nuts.
Mandy's like, we're a hot mess, Lorena. When are you coming back?
It's like, we're breaking shit here. We need you. So, are you a Cowboy Bebop fan?
Actually, yes. One of my live streams I did, I want to say maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. We do it once a month called the Fandom Girls Anime Stream. And we went over Cowboy Bebop. It was one of those anime series where I'd heard of. I just hadn't had a chance to get into it. And I knew friends who were into it. So we just watched it and we critiqued it. And frankly, I love it. I love it. I thought it was badass. The music is crazy. It's just something about how they do the music. The characters are unapologetic for being, who they are. And I know we were talking about I was talking about Jet Black. We're talking about, Faye, of course. Faye, who I love. Faye, who is like a stripper gone broke, pretty much. She's always on the hustle to get what she needs to get because she actually is broke. And she's not above using anybody or anyone. It's just one of the coolest animes for just like the series and the ingeniousness of the music. And some of the episodes, the music will switch from one genre to another throughout the whole show. So yeah, needless to say, that's one of my favorite animes. And I know I'm not happy with what Netflix is going to do with the live action at all.
All right. Well, we got a female perspective on that one.
Yeah.
So what's your response then to the actress's video that we just watched? Have you seen that yet?
I did not get a chance to see all of it, but I got the general idea.
Tom, can you replay it?
I can probably. Let me grab it here real quick.
Then we get the fresh reaction at the same time. And nothing is cooler than that.
It's not very long. Yeah, it's only like a minute. So
yeah, exactly.
All right, let's.
And
do
again,
this
thank
here.
you to Stephanie for sharing this, and a few other people have tagged me in it as well. So, but yeah. Okay, let me get back where it begins. There you go.
Hey guys. So as you know, our Cowboy Bebop first look dropped today, which was so exciting. And I just wanted to address a couple of things that sort of keep coming up in the comments amongst fans. First, I wanted to apologize to the fans that I did not anatomically match the Faye Valentine character.
That wasn't the issue.
6 foot, double D size breast, 2-inch waist. They looked
2-inch waist is
everywhere for
irrelevant.
that woman, and they couldn't find her. It's kind of weird. So they just went with my short ass. I know. Am I right? There was talk about like, can we put Daniela in a time machine and maybe give her different parents so she has different genetic information to sort of make her look better? It proved to be too complicated. And the other thing I wanted to bring up was I want to apologize that the outfit I'm wearing is not exactly what she wears in the anime. We tried. But doing stunts in tissue paper, things disappear, they rip. Sometimes it just got lost. Anyway, like I was saying, that original costume, they made a couple of them, but like I said, they got sort of slurped up in my various crevices, never to be retrieved again. So we needed to really build something that could withstand the test of time. So just,
Every time I hear that line, I'm like, gross.
Lady, you are full of crap. You're so okay. All right. One, we're so sorry. Actually, we're not sorry that those of us who love the Faye Valentine character know that what she has on the outside is superficial, but it's as much a part of her character as how she is. First of all, nobody's got a 2-inch waist. That's not the issue. The issue that we have, or the issue would say that I have, is that somehow fans of the show who want Faye Valentine to look like Faye Valentine, you're trying to shame us for wanting that. And it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. What it makes you seem like, or what it makes this young lady seem like, is that she's completely ungrateful for playing this character. Like, I'm so sorry that I don't fit into the teeny, ass outfit. We didn't ask you for that. We just wanted you to play the character. So as for the thing of like, oh, well, it would have got stuck in various crevices and stuff like that. No. I've seen cosplayers come up with outfits. There are ways to do riggings and all of that to make the outfits functional. As they can do that. What is so wrong with femininity? I think here's the problem: is that she doesn't like the fact that people who want to see Faye as the voluptuous femme fatale that she is, somehow there's an issue with that. And the people out there, and I will call them like, the blue hairs who do not like anything feminine, have a problem with that. And that's the audience that she's pandering to. And as someone who's a female who loves being feminine, who likes seeing feminine women on screen, I'm not happy about this. I don't care. And it's bad enough that the live action remake didn't even look that good to begin with. Now I really have zero interest in seeing it. So you don't want us to say it, fine.
Yeah, well, and that's, again, it feeds right into a problem that Netflix is having in losing the subscribers they need in the States to support their giant butts. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, if these streaming services continue to turn off the audiences in the United States, again, the paying audiences, the people with money that pay for your crap, right? Mm-hmm. How are you going to survive? I mean, I see it as, okay, so one of the most expensive streaming services is Warner, right? The HBO Max. Okay. Their marriage to Discovery Plus. Do you think David Zaslav is going to allow for any of this crap going forward in the merged company? I doubt it.
I sincerely hope numbers. No,
I hope not.
Not if it syncs numbers.
As someone who subscribes, first of all, I get HBO Max for free through AT&T. Freaking love it. I actually watch HBO Max a lot. Add on to that Discovery Plus, which I also have because it has a ton of great content. I can't see them trying this mess with those two. Those platforms. I can't remember the last time I actually looked at Netflix, but I can tell you I looked at Discovery Plus today and the day before, and HBO Max a couple of days before on the regular.
Yeah.
I took it, just you brought up an interesting point, Lorena, that kind of reminded me when I first listened to that yesterday with the whole, her whole spiel there on TikTok or Twitter, whatever the hell she did. And she specifically brings up the costumes going up crevices. The first thought that came to my mind, and Lorena, you know this, and a lot of y'all out there know this. I'm a dad, and two of my kids are teenage daughters. They both have been doing dance for most of their lives since they were 2. One is almost 14. One is almost 16. Yeah. They have done competitive dance. I do all the videography work and the photography work for this dance. It was 400 kids at this dance school. I've done competitions. They all wear costumes skimpier than this chick in the anime. Yeah. And they do more athletic stuff jumping through the air. Yeah. There are simple things like nude body-colored unitards, leotards, things like this that go under all this.
Fabric that stretches in many different directions. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I know this as a 42-year-old dad of teenagers, and this chick is telling me that, oh, well, we couldn't do it because it was riding up my crevices.
She wears shorts.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, how do you wear shorts? There's stuff that you can put on the edges.
It's bullshit to me. As like I said, as a guy,
anywhere. It totally is. It totally is.
Can I also add something else? There's something we're forgetting. That yes, Faye has a very distinctive suit that everybody remembers, the yellow suit. Correct. But in the series, Faye has worn more than just that. She was not defined just by that.
Didn't she have like a white cult outfit or something that she had on?
I think it was a bathrobe, but still, the fact that she has worn more things depending on the job she has to do, right? And
in the casino.
Yes, but yes, true. Her iconic yellow suit that we all remember is because it's iconic. It's the one we see her when she's not doing a job. It's the one she wears normally, and it's like people remember that because also it's a style that was very distinctive. Even till this day, you don't see anything as distinctive as that, and that's why people remember it. But the problem is because clearly this Wokosa doesn't understand anything, right? She doesn't understand the source material. She hasn't seen the original series. She hasn't either read the manga. She doesn't understand that Faye's choice of outfit. Yes, that's her. Let's say like when she's resting, but when she's not, when she's working, she's gonna change the outfit, and she, because people reacted saying it's not the iconic yellow suit, and she took it badly instead of being smarter about it. She's now basically put the series, and she's basically tied up the rope and given it to the series at this point.
To be clear, though, I don't think we should blame her too much, because I do think that someone above her, whether that be at Netflix, her agent, someone approved of this. I really, really do believe that. However, I will say that regardless of who approved it or not, she doesn't do herself any favors here, because really it comes across as like quite whiny and pedantic, these kind of complaints. I don't think that she looks very good for them, coming up with such snide remarks as this, aimed directly at the audience. The professional look in this kind of situation, in which an actor or actress is criticized for how they look in early stills. Let's see, has this ever happened before? Can you think of any times? Because I can. Every single time a genre character is first time seen in stills. Every single time. I mean, the few times where the actor actress
not just women though either.
Yeah,
Not
that's why I say
women.
actor or actress. So it's like the few times where they weren't criticized, that's the exception rather than the rule. She hasn't been subjected to anything that literally hundreds of actors and actresses have been subjected to before. And the professional way to deal with that is say nothing and then let the work speak for itself when it is released. Whereas this way, the only thing that I think she does right now is that, there's some people that are going to absolutely love what she has to say here. And we have an article on that we can bring up. But for everyone else, I think that there are many people that would be inclined to watch this, but they're going to be like tainted now. Like, it's going to be difficult. I think it's going to be more difficult to accept her as the character, because everyone will have seen the actress acting kind of snoopy.
I would have to totally agree with that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just going to say it even goes beyond human, like Darth Hoster brought up here. What about Sonic? And what about something that's dear to my heart? Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah.
What about anything?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean it's sexually oriented. That's the part that bothers me. They're the ones who are turning it into something sexually oriented because that's all they were fucking talking about.
But that's the classical straw man, isn't it?
That's what they do.
Exactly. When you can't attack the fans on what they are actually complaining about, because what they're actually complaining about is completely legit, what you want to do is pretend they're complaining about something else and attack them for that. Typical straw man. I mean, this has been classical playbook since Trankgate, since Josh Trank's Fant 4 stick. I remember it very, very well.
Yeah,
the fans had very solid complaints about how the whole thing was a rights grab, how Josh Trank's vision was wrong, how Miles Teller was dead wrong for the role of Mr. Fantastic, and how it was kind of awkward when you have two siblings and you make one of them black and you keep the other white. That's kind of a little bit awkward. I mean, if you have to do a race swap, why do you have to do it right there? It would be like better to either do Mr. Fantastic himself, because honestly it would have been better with anyone other than Miles Teller, was the worst miscast in that whole thing. But no, they couldn't accept that. So those criticisms, so the narrative was, fans are racist because they don't like Michael B. Jordan. And everything else was forgotten. That was the narrative. And this is more of the same. Classic straw man.
Yeah, I mean, people should be more like. This is a very funny story I'm going to talk about because I'm not sure anybody here saw the Detective Pikachu movie.
Yes,
Okay.
I saw it.
Okay, consider this: that I'm a Pokemon fan. I've played the game since '98. When we saw the announcement for the movie, right? The one thing that every single comment that in the community was about how will they look. And when they showed the Pokemon how they looked, people had their complaints. But you know what the community did? We stayed quiet and we let them do their work until the very end. And I feel that also the problem. And then there was no response, right? Even though there were some people commenting, critiqued in the sphere about it and whatever. At the end, everybody just stayed quiet. Both sides, the production, people, we just stayed quiet. We let the work speak for itself. At the end, it was a successful movie. The Pokemon were well made. It respected the spirit. It had a different feeling to it, and that's why when Sonic happened, we were like, "What the hell? How come they can give us Detective Pikachu, but they can't give us a proper Sonic?"
Well, and I can think of
at that
two
time.
times in history. I'm sure there's some other examples, but specifically when it comes to like superheroes or adaptations like this, there's only two times in history I don't remember anybody bitching, and that was Deadpool, because Ryan Reynolds looked like Deadpool as soon as he came out in the costume. It's like, oh, it's Deadpool. It's like, and the only other time I can remember is Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman, with a caveat. There were plenty of mothers who said that is way too tight. Other than that, I don't remember anybody bitching about her in that costume. Anybody got any other suggestions other than that? Like, yeah, so I think Andre's not like, we are nerds. We are going to scrutinize every little last fucking thing. Do you know how many times in the last 20 years I've heard, God, all I could get was Wolverine in his original costume? Do you know how many times? Millions of times I've heard fans say that kind of shit. It's just little insignificant things like that, or significant, I guess. They are significant. I don't want to make it sound like it isn't. The things that fans ask for that we never get. And it's like, it doesn't take much to make us happy. But they sure do treat us like we're ungrateful and we don't know what we want. And it's bullshit. It's like, no, we know exactly what we want. We just want something that pays respect, homage, and at least is in the same vein of, or, feels like what we're trying to do here. The whole thing this reminds me of, Andre, is when we were talking about Red Sonja, right? Like, we sat there and we predicted how many different ways they were going to cover her ass up, which is sad. And there you go. There's another 6-foot woman for you. Go ask Brigitte if that
with red hair. With red hair.
Exactly. Yeah. So don't tell me it don't take much to find somebody who looks and can act like the person you want. That's not the problem. The problem is, and I can't remember who brought it up, but I think it's even in one of the super chats, one of the regular chats I brought up on screen here. But yeah, they should have just, I think it was Geek Tropology who said it. She should have just took the time to show us she could act instead of fucking bitching at us. Maybe doing a quick scene as the character.
Or
do nothing. Well, just wait. She doesn't.
Right. That's the best answer right there. But
exactly. Just like the conversation we had about Kevin Smith. You know what? The best thing for you to do? Shut the fuck up. That's it. That's all you have to do. Shut up. Don't say anything. Go away. And you would not compound these situations like this. But no,
she could also VR. She also could have gone. Tom's not wrong. She could have gone viral by essentially introducing everybody to her character. She could have done what Deadpool does. Yeah. She could have done. I mean, we have examples of that, right? I mean, one of the reasons I don't know. Am I allowed to say JD? His name on the channel? Does that get us in trouble?
Just say Pirate Guy.
Yeah, Pirate Guy, JD, right? He maintains a costume so that he can go to hospitals, so he can do stuff for kids. He portrays himself sometimes virally as that character, Jack Sparrow, or used to, on many different social media platforms. And you can connect with people. You can create that viral thing that you want to market the project that you're in a positive way. I think Tom's right when it comes to that. But look, Andre's right. Shut up. Valiant's right. More shut up. And, or do the unexpected, do the creative thing that actually supports your product, right? That
I totally
introduces
agree.
you with
I say shut up just because these guys don't know anything different than getting out there and sniping at fans anymore. This is the TikTok, Twitter generation where everything is going to be a 60-second clip that's going to go out in a video where you're going to do piss takes on people, and now it's to fans. So I mean, I would love to see one of them do exactly what Tom's take this and turn it into an opportunity to change people's minds. The problem is they don't think like that anymore.
The greatest example I just brought up was Deadpool. Like, look at what Ryan Reynolds did with that campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the smartest advertising campaign I've ever seen for a movie. And you know what? I saw maybe a minute of that movie before the movie came out. Why? Because it was all Ryan Reynolds every time. But I saw a million trailers because it was just Ryan Reynolds doing his shtick. You know, she, like you guys, like she was going to do something if she had to, other than just be quiet. She should have just showed up the way she was dressed in the show, done a little scene as the character, and or even talked to the audience as the character. Even if she had to say, look, I understand people are really worried about this or whatever, but just wait, give us a shot. Even something like that. That kind of stuff I don't mind.
I mean, if you're going to
Ryan
do
Reynolds
anything,
is a
that
lot
would be
smarter
it.
than the average bear.
Yeah, and we only got Lorena for a short time, so I definitely want to get her kind of feelings on this more so than anything. But like, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
That's okay. I just remember when actresses, I'll say actresses because I'm going to say women right now. I remember when actresses were more gracious with their roles, gracious in speaking with the public. Usually would have some kind of publicist to go out there and talk for them because they knew they put their foot in their mouth. Why would you want to purposely piss off potentially half your audience or more because you can't control what it is that comes out of it? It would have been different if she would have said, you know what, guys, I understand some of you, may have issues with the costume because you love the series so much. And there's a certain way that you want to see her. But I hope you'll check out the show and kind of see, what you think. Be gracious to the fan base. Actors these days have forgotten how to do that. And I believe, as like what Valiant was saying, and I think what Culture said as well, in this era of TikTok and Facebook and social media and quick takes, they just want that soundbite. They just want that soundbite for publicity. And it's like they're playing the short game in golf, so to speak. They're playing the short game and pissing off fans. And then when, their product craps out at the box office, then they want to turn around and blame the fans, when a lot of them only have to blame running their big mouth because people who would have checked it out just because they were interesting, now they're turned off. We're like, why the heck should I go see that? All I'm going to see is this person in my head telling me how much they don't like me, and how dare myself as a fan want to see fan service done.
Yeah, I think those are some excellent points. I would like to make one slight correction from my point of view, though, and that is I agree with older actors and actresses that have, in their older days, gone complete activist. They have forgotten how to please the audience, whereas with the younger generation that's grown up with TikTok and stuff like that, they never knew. They only knows how to be snooty and stuff like that. Like to them, that's normal. Mm-hmm. That's what they grew up with. That's all they know. Not saying that's a good thing, of course, but
it's reality. It really is.
Yeah. When you have a generation that are essentially raised to be, well, they're certainly raised to have narcissistic traits. They're raised with the hills and entitlement and everything like that. And they're not raised with anything resembling humility in any way, shape, or form. And especially then, if you don't have agents or someone like Netflix actually keeping them in check, then this is what you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Not saying that's a good thing. Just that's how it is.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All I will add, basically, Andre's saying is everybody's a wokoso.
Well, I see some people bring up, like, here's the thing with the Deadpool thing. I get it. They can't do the exact same thing. Only Ryan Reynolds can do what Deadpool did. But my point is you can be creative. right? You can come
Yes.
up with other ways, because this is the point when I got on the whole thing about Ryan Reynolds with the Deadpool campaign in the first place. The point I was making with it originally the other day was they don't do things like that anymore. Like we were talking about trailers, right? Like, Alfred Hitchcock is the only other guy I can think of who used to come out and go, "Hello, this is my movie," and he wouldn't actually show you the movie, but he would fuck with you for like a minute and a half, right? Like that's what Ryan Reynolds was doing. And they don't do those kind of fun things anymore. They used to do them all the time. Like it, and again, I'm not saying she could do a Deadpool thing, but she could have done something that was creative, and it could have at least
They
got
could
the
do the
fans
equivalent of it, because for
talking.
instance,
Yeah.
that was the problem with Birds of Prey. They tried to be too much like Deadpool rather than to find another unique way of doing what Deadpool made unique. I mean, like, find another way of doing that thing, but that obviously isn't lifted from Deadpool, which is what they were doing there. But I still say the absolute best way to handle situations such as this one, and really, this actress, she's got nothing compared to what so many others have had before.
Well,
the best way to handle this is simply do nothing, say nothing. If ever confronted or asked directly, then simply answer that, yeah, you understand that fans are very passionate about the property, and so it's only natural for them to have some trepidations, but you hope that they will check it out, and maybe they'll see what they're doing, and they'll come out being happy with this alternate iteration of the source material they love. Yeah. I mean, that's how you answer to that. Beyond that, say nothing and let the work speak for itself.
Well, it'll actually be a great segue into the one editorial I wanted to bring up. But Daniel says here, since we got Lorraine, I wanted to hear this. Lorena dropping a golf analogy in defense of nerddom. Be still my heart.
Oh, thank you. Golf is such a frustrating freaking game.
And then we have another.
I would imagine, especially so in Florida, where you have like gators and stuff on the golf course.
Yeah, sometimes it's kind of like, okay, all right, I'll skip that hole. Let the
kangaroo
keep walking.
Gators, wild turkeys, all kinds of stuff out there.
Ibis,
How about the pythons? Apparently, they're like a major invasive species.
They are no natural predators. So
people are getting paid for collecting them too. I mean,
and eating them too. They went to restaurants to serve them.
I guess you're not allowed to ask for paper menus out there in Florida either.
What, are they paying people to collect them?
Yes, they're paying.
Ooh, that's a bad idea.
The wrangle pythons.
The fuck.
That's a horrendous idea.
They stupid rednecks that are. Oh, anyway. Never mind.
Listen, they did that in India or something, I think, where there were like too many cobras or something like that. I may misremember it, but it was like there were like too many cobras in an area, so they paid the price for every single one that they collected, right? So the local farmers, they started breeding them.
Oh, wow.
For Pete's sake.
Because it was a financial incentive.
Why do I not? I can see that happening.
No, the gestation cycle would be crazy long, but no, it's really
cares? People are stupid.
Well, yeah, but rednecks aren't an endangered species right now in Florida, so it's. And I'm joking, people. I'm joking.
I know. That's why I didn't want to go down that road. Right?
No, I will always go down that road.
Florida man.
That's something for your stream, right, Lorena?
I was about to say, and check out Lorena's show Sunday evenings, the Florida stream. That is the perfect segue to that one.
We talk about python wrangling.
We have
state of Florida getting people to put python on a menu.
Well, no, I guess Jesse got kicked out of a restaurant for asking for a paper menu in Florida. But anyway, Nina Infinity says
we had that happen
just recently. I guess we haven't even seen a trailer yet. People like me are concerned about how the series is going to look and will be like story-wise. Her outfit was bottom of the barrel concern for me. And Nina, of course, is one of our toxic femmes. Thank you for hanging out in the chat. I guess she's not unable to join us right now, but yeah, she wanted to chime in on that. So I don't know if anybody has any.
I think the outfit, I was going to say the outfit is probably just like one of the triggers, so to speak, after you look and see what it looks like, on the outside. So I think people pick on the outfit because it sticks out.
Mhm.
It
But
does.
if the whole thing looked like the movie was gonna be like the series was gonna be good, I think the last thing they say, the outfit, it could be better, but no worries. I want to see the
Yeah.
series.
I
It's just not coming off
I
well.
I have bigger concerns than the outfit, Lorena. It's just like you, and
I
just
think
like
that's kind of what Nina's
Nina.
just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's this, and somebody in the chat said it earlier. We haven't seen Ed yet.
Right. And then Darth DJ
Yeah.
JD brings up a few more characters that did get scrutinized quite a bit, and they were males. Daniel Craig is James Bond, and Heath Ledger is Joker. I remember everybody hated the Joker look when they first showed what he looked like.
And he was so good. Oh
Yeah,
my
I mean, he
God.
won us all over. I mean, for the most part.
Yeah, I remember with
so
Daniel Craig. I
serious?
wasn't too sold on Daniel
Yeah,
Craig.
or
as
Tom
Bond in the
Jane for
beginning.
when he was like first announced for the Punisher, especially
Right.
after
Oh,
that
yeah.
first teaser trailer, in which he looked like a grumpy little boy on Halloween. They didn't go with that look for the movie itself, but
Right.
yeah, there's a long and proud history of this.
Yeah. Sad face
And I think
emoji.
Dr. Coffinail still does bitch about it, according to him. And that's
Oh,
fair. Of all the Jokers, his look is the one I like the least, but I love his rendition of the Joker. So
I
it's
think
trade-off.
I think Daniel Craig started out okay as Bond and then went full Jason Bourne with it and became unlikable. And maybe that was the writing, but it actually it slowly eroded my interest in him as James Bond. So yeah.
Didn't
But
do
anyhow,
any wonders.
that's basically the point, though. Is it's not just a female thing. It's not even a human thing. We've made that point.
Yeah.
I think we've kind of gotten through all this as much as we could, but let's see what the folks in the chat have to say. What do you guys think?
Yes,
Yum
absolutely.
yum eat 'em up. Hey, I got it. Says the outfit is one of the myriad of problems this show has, from its cheap backgrounds of its sets to Jet's rubber looking mechanical arm. Low effort. Oh, so they don't even get a minimum effort puppy?
Well,
no.
yeah. Oh, by the way, you're gonna, if you watch the anime, Tom, you're gonna have clips in there for other puppies for your clips.
I like
Mhm.
puppies.
Yeah.
Especially Ein. Ein is awesome. Wait, which brings me to another point, actually. Ein's not supposed to be on a freaking leash.
Uh-oh.
Yet he's on the leash. And you see the publicity photos, with the three of them together. Ein is on a leash. Ein is never on a leash.
Yeah,
He's
and
that smart. Never.
And
is.
I think one of the early episodes too is I think it's like maybe even the second or third episode when they introduce Ein. I think the title of it's like Ein's something Ein Strut or whatever. I mean, he because he's got that little walk. Anyway, but he's not. Yeah, he's an altered dog, right?
Yes.
Altered. Yeah, I don't know. I just want it to be good, and I'm gonna be sad. And and here's the thing: we saw still images, right? Perhaps that rubberized arm gets enhanced in post. Maybe it's going to be enhanced in post.
Here's my thing: why leak out half-assed, half-done publicity
Stills?
photos? Stills.
Oh no.
Yes. See, this is what I don't get.
Probably because that's what we're gonna get. Because I've heard that excuse so many times.
And it doesn't hold water.
So many times have I heard that excuse when you get like these early pictures or an early trailer. It always says, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's not done. It's preliminary." Bull crap. Yeah, fine. It may be minor changes, but there's not going to be anything that really matters. Anything that matters, they would have done already. So anything that you see in any kind of officially released picture, anything like that, it's going to be fairly close to what you're seeing on screen, always and without exception. The only exception from that was actually Sonic, and that's because they deliberately went in and they did changes. For everything else, ranging from Apocalypse to the worst of the Transformers in the Transformers movies, doesn't matter how much they said it was going to change, it looked pretty much exactly like that in the final rendition on screen.
Yeah. Max Relax says, according to made-up studies that you are up to 50% more likely to have a good weekend by pressing the like button. I'm thinking that that's probably accurate.
I would agree. I would agree.
And with that, Andre, let's go back to what the chat's talking about real quick before we lose Lorena and Valiant here.
Yeah.
What else we got for some super chats? I think I got one more I can bring up on screen.
Yeah, you bring up that. You can bring up. Then we'll go back
nope,
to the
I only
classics
could.
after
Nope,
that.
that's it. I'm done. I can't bring. Anything.
Okay. Well,
Lovely StreamYards. Thanks.
Yeah, they really need to make a repository here for us.
It's worse than the YouTube side. At least on the YouTube side, you can go a little bit farther back, but even that don't let you go back very far.
Yeah, not enough that it's going to.
And really, how much data does that really take up? Seriously,
not a lot at all. I mean, it's a matter of resources encoding it. That's nothing what I mean. Else.
Yeah,
because I mean, any product manager could fix that in like.
Yeah,
it depends on their Scrum cycle and their development cycle, but really it should take more than a month.
We didn't get paid to put that feature in, so we're not going to do it right now.
Exactly. I mean, you need a product manager that has like a vision and says we need that, and from they do that, it could be done. I would estimate from 2 till 4 weeks, depending on resources available.
Yeah, and that's my job in real life.
Yeah, I've had quite some experience with the development and Scrum teams as well. So I also speak from experience there. Like this is something that could be done in 2 to 4 weeks, having it fully deployed.
Yeah,
easily. So it's a matter of finding the resources, but before that, it's a matter of making it a priority, putting it in the backlog, and then putting it into the next development cycle. So yeah.
Well, I'd be happy if they just maintain consistent stability sync for me, with bulletproof internet having issues with them all the way. But hey, I'm not asking for much. Pay a lot of money for that.
That's a ticket.
I've submitted a ticket for 2 weeks straight. I'm so mad.
Oh crap.
So, yeah. But hey, it is what it is. At least it's not Disney IT. Anyway, sorry.
The one where it's like, you're advertising IT jobs. Nope, I'm gonna step right over that. Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that, speaking of stepping over, I know that we only had you for so long, and you probably have to go back to whipping the developers into doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes, I do. I have to walk through with my my black cape and my Vader helmet and voice. Yeah. I said, you know what? I didn't know till I got into project management and software. Now I know why Darth Vader had to force choke people. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I hear you.
Saying.
This is why Skeletor is surrounded by bubbling boobs.
I'm sure there are some good Skeletor quotes that you can use in the next retrospective like that.
We used Mario Kart in the last retrospective, so I might have to.
Morons, incompetent morons.
But it's been great. I'm glad I could have popped it, but I have to go back to work. But I definitely wanted to pop it on the stream since I had a chance to. It's been great, of course. Please do hit the like button. Please do check out my channel where I do videos and live streams on pop culture, sci-fi, and of course theme parks. I'm thinking, Sunday is the Welcome to Florida stream at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about Florida man stories that seem to get crazier and crazier every week. But we will be talking about the first theme park in Florida known as Silver Springs, which was also the filming location for several movies, including several Bond movies. So please do come and check that out as you go down memory lane with that. Of course, Monday, 9 p.m., Toxic Femininity with Mandy and with Nina. And of course, Tom is on there with us. And Tuesday, a special 5 p.m. show on my channel, Park versus Park, where we will have Chris Gore on and Culture Casino on. And we are going to be talking. Yeah. Chris Gore wants to come on to talk about Galaxy's Edge and some inside information that he knows and to compare Galaxy's Edge with how the Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Do you need to borrow my button?
You have a button? Which button?
I have a Chris Gore button.
Chris
recommends.
There you go.
Because he always recommends movies constantly. So we made him a button.
I so need that. That is flipping awesome. And thanks so much. So you guys have a great weekend. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
All right. And Valiant. Yeah, I know that you also only had some limited time.
Yeah, I've got to get running. I have something I've got to get into the city to go attend to. But thanks so much for having me on. Appreciate it. As always, very generous of you to throw out the invitation. It is always a blast with all of you, Tom, Andre, Culture, Diego. Good to see you, man. And best wishes to the continued success of Midnight's Edge Espanol, man. It's going well. You and Paulie both doing a great job. And for all of y'all out there who haven't checked out the channel yet, check it out on YouTube at Valiant Renegade. I'm on Twitter at Valiant Renegade. Just drop the E at the end of Renegade. And it's Valiant with 2 L's, by the way. Did an interview that I put out yesterday morning with Doomcock. He and I had a good little chat, had some fun. You can usually catch me there Sunday nights every now and again on the Pop Culture Breakdown. And I've got about, at this point, 700 watch hours left to monetization. So all the help that I can get those watch hours. Getting there very much, and I appreciate everybody's support, especially Midnight's Edge. So thank you all so much. I will catch you guys next time.
All right.
Be safe, sir. Be very safe.
Valiant is like our sexy voice stepchild, as Culture is our fair-haired stepchild. So there you go.
I'll take it. Yeah, because I don't have the hair. Culture's got the hair. He got all the hair. I got the voice.
You got the smooth, sexy voice that brings you all the lovely sounds. All right. Take care, everybody.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
All right. And as I pointed out here, we're not going anywhere, kids. These guys have to get to work. We're gonna get to these super chats, and we got a couple other things to talk about. Culture, did you have something to say?
No, I'm excited to be here. I mean, I can't wait. I have so many great things to do this coming week. I mean, I get to be on all these places, including hanging out with Lorena. I don't know. I'm living in a fantasy world right now. I can't even believe it. So, but yeah. And plus we get to talk about things that I love or I'm frustrated.
Well, get your ass back down here to reality, because we got shit to do.
All right.
Indeed. And we have a number of super chats here. And unfortunately, the way that StreamYard works, we can't bring them up on screen anymore. So you're just going to have to listen.
Yeah, thanks to StreamYard.
Yes, thank you so much. Dahawk666 says, do you think this is going to be like Death Note?
Oh, probably.
Wow.
Oh, God.
To those of us who have no clue, what is Death Note and what happened with that? Yes, I don't know. It wasn't on the Mega Drive, so I have no idea.
No. It's an anime. Basically, the Netflix has already done another live-action adaptation of a popular anime and manga series, which is Death Note. Quick summary for Andre. It's basically, if a guy finds a book that if you write somebody's name and the cause of death, the book will make sure it happens, because it's part of the book that the Shinigami, the gods of death, use to, do their job as gods of death.
That sounds cool.
Okay, except that they completely changed it. They made the main character, Akira, be a little whiny soy boy.
Okay, that's not cool.
Other things. So it was just god-awful.
Bad. They mischaracterized it so much. It was rough to watch. I got halfway in and I'm like, oh, this is awful. But I had to finish it because I had to see just how bad it was.
You got halfway in? I couldn't even stand the first 15 minutes.
Nah, it was rough. But I finished it though, and it was truly a suffering. And you're that's a good. A good point. I mean, their adaptations always seem to be a downgrade, and Death Note is probably the best example so far. taking something great and just destroying it. Just destroying it.
Yeah,
That's
Andreas says Death Note's character were blackwashed and whitewashed.
Yeah.
Okay. What's
Yeah.
the
At the
point?
same
Doesn't it
time,
just
that's
cancel
impressive.
itself out? That's kind of pointless, isn't it? I don't know.
Just
What
else do we got for
yeah, we
super
do
chats
have a
here?
little bit here. Let's see. Then we have Mecha J, in reference to the descriptions before, says actually the anime came first, the manga came later, in reference to Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, that could be. And then Stephen Otten said for $5, "Hail Andre, Tom, Diego, Culture, Wrenches, and Chat. Face it, they despise the fans. Only their agenda matters. Vote with your wallet." And Melvin Belliard said for $20. Thank you so much, Melvin. "Good afternoon, Midnight Edge crew. I love Cowboy Bebop, the story, the characters, all of it. Although I will give it a shot, but what the actress just came out and said, and they still haven't shown Edward, or even if they're bringing her." So, yeah, that's not a great vote of confidence right there. John Apocalypse says for £4.99, "Here Netflix is adapting One Piece. Imagine effing up a series with millions of manga annual sales, thousands of episodes, a ton of merch, and even theme parks." Okay, Netflix One Piece. Have you heard of this?
I've heard rumors about it. I can't remember if it's definitive but what they're saying is true, because we're talking about the anime is about 920 something episodes currently. The manga has been serialized since 1997 and hasn't stopped. It's still going. Okay. And again, yes, it does have a theme park. Like, if they screw up that one, okay, nothing is really going to change, because people are just going to say, I got my series that's still going. I got my manga, and I got my park. The live action won't do much damage to it, really, because of how long the longevity of the series and how strong the brand is. But that's one of the few, because most cases, what Netflix is doing is taking shows that already have had a finish, have an end. So if they ruin it, it hits it harder.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. Very good point. I mean, it's a really high-profile way of destroying it, actually. But yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. Dash Attack says for $4.99, "The appeal of a live-action anime is the same as a comic book movie. In theory, it should be possible. I want Naruto to be mainstreamed, but done right."
I mean, yeah, to a point. I mean, here's the thing: the difference is anime is already in action, right? It's a style. It's a way of telling a story. If they wanted to make it a movie, they should have just made it a movie in the first place. A comic book is, I guess, a little bit different animal, but I get where you're coming from. It's a very similar.
It's a similar kind of
sentiment,
adaptation,
yeah.
wouldn't it? It would be
Yeah.
much the same in terms of pure adaptation. And then we have a few to go through here. Augie Bendogi says Ninja Scroll is good anime, guys. You agree with that?
I've not seen it. Diego?
Give me a sec.
Okay, Culture, Ninja Scroll.
Yeah, Ninja Scroll. This is good.
I've seen a very small amount of it, and I've liked it so far. I need to pick it up with at the beginning, because I kind of saw something midway that wasn't the best for me. But yeah, I mean, again, everybody kind of now, if you know the couple that I really enjoy and I love, including Trigun, you kind of know the art style that I like as far as the anime goes, because there's several different types of art styles that you get out of anime, and that one kind of fits in there. So yeah, like I said, I'll get through the whole run, and I'll report back.
ninjas.
Yeah.
I'm back, and I was gonna say,
yeah, Ninja Scroll.
Yeah,
I've seen a bit of it when I was really younger. Okay, I'm talking maybe 17 years ago. Okay, it's very gory. but still, it's like very. It's a very entertaining thing once you get past the gore, the story, the whole narrative, the fluidity, the animation, everything. Considering the fact how old it is.
Right. And I got a couple super chats we can bring up on screen here. So we got
Yeah, let's
Morgan
do it.
King, who sends in a Canadian $20, says, I feel like saying to Netflix, if they want me to get a subscription, they will have to treat fans better. Until then, I'll give you my money. Well, thank you so
Thank you
much
so
for
much.
that.
Yeah, we really
that.
appreciate it.
One thing we can say is, though, we have a lot of confidence in the Conan series coming to Netflix, so stay tuned for that. I'm sure we'll be talking more about that.
Well, when we have some updates, we'll be sure to
Absolutely.
have them.
DeWall comes in again with another $5. Thank you so much. Says they will get rid of Edward or do a race change. After all, she is a ginger. Well, there you go. Ginger side.
Wait. Yeah. Oh, I'm willing to put money that Edward is going to be a black woman.
Yep. Dash D's coming in, says, I happened upon the actress's video without even knowing about Bebop. That little snot bag would make me not care in the slightest about watching. Exactly. Yeah. I know nothing about this. My introduction is coming soon. I'm going to start watching it. These guys last night talked me into going and buying the Blu-ray since I knew it was out at Walmart. I'm like, fuck it, I'll grab it.
Awesome.
So I'm going to be checking it out sooner or later. But no, like even without knowing anything about it, just her attitude is a turnoff. I agree with you, Dash. It was a very bad turnoff, and that'll definitely go into the other editorial we'll probably break into here in a little bit before we're done. But I know we only got Diego for a few more minutes, so let's get through as many of these super chats as we can before he leaves, in case he can help us answer some.
Yeah, indeed. Next one is Actioncom, who says they already have the live action version of Cowboy Bebop. It was called The Rockford Files.
There you go. Well, if that's anything that's like, I might like it.
Yeah. And John W. says Netflix should leave anime alone. They have already destroyed Saint Seiya. Now they want to destroy everything else that we love.
Well, here's the thing, and this is going to go into what Eric Runge Madsen says here. Conan on Netflix, my heart already breaking. Here's the thing. Netflix only has so much say over certain things, right? Like a great example is Cobra Kai is produced outside of Netflix, and then but Netflix broadcasts it because Columbia makes it or Sony makes it. They used to make it for YouTube, and now they make it for Netflix. Conan, as Andre will explain to you, and my suggestion is check out our interview with Frederick Malmberg. He is the guy who is the caretaker of Conan, and he has assured us that he has complete control over this pretty much. And
well, he doesn't have he doesn't have complete control over it. That he does not. He has some say. But what say he does have is fairly solid. So
and his whole thing,
it was already shut down on Amazon because it wouldn't be done right there. So yeah, fingers crossed. And as of this moment in time, there is no reason to be worried. And if that were to change, we will of course let you know. But as of this moment in time, there is no reason to worry.
But I do suggest you check out our interview with him.
Yes, do check that out anyway.
Put some of your fears at ease, at least.
Yes, and I will also say that's one of the best interviews that you'll find on YouTube, especially if you're interested in Conan. That is one of the definitive ones that is out on YouTube on the matter of Conan, including the previous movie and what went wrong with that and what happened with Amazon and the comics and the whole shebang.
Right. But I feel like if something was like, it didn't feel right, he definitely would make sure it didn't cross any lines. So anyhow, back to super chats. My bad.
Yes, then we have Arisaka, the semi-braced goose, who says for $5, the actress's comments are proof it's going to be trash, and they know it. Netflix PR wouldn't be allowing it if it weren't. Fits their track record. And yeah, this is what I was saying too. I'm worried that this is sanctioned by Netflix. I mean, they seem to have like some weird ideas of how to market and how to do things. They seem to be like these crazy TikTok kids themselves, in some sense. So I'm deeply worried that that the powers that be think this is a good idea and that she's actually representing the company line here. But yeah, we'll see about that. Etienne Falardeau says for $5 Canadian, she's basically saying they should have cast someone else. Our costume team sucks, and our stunt direction is awful. And yeah, Etienne, you are not wrong. That's basically what she's saying, isn't it?
Without,
Go ahead, Diego.
without calling herself out, basically. I think I agree with him because she attacks points that I think not even the fans actually knew about or even commented about.
Well, that's gaslighting, pretty much, yeah.
Uh-huh. I think, as they say, she's basically saying that. So now I'm more worried now I think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, so over the course of the stream, you have gotten more and not less excited, or more worried, not less, about Cowboy Bebop.
Yes, like I had faith at least because I know the acting chops of John Cho, right? But now with how she's talking now, we're talking about maybe this was actually sanctioned and not, or at least allowed to happen. You know, that her blasting out that full volume against fans. It doesn't bode well to what's gonna come, at least for Faye, and that's sad.
Yeah. Yeah. And then moving on, Carolina Ramos Fabian says for $100 Thank you so much. Everything is to be woke and not progressive. Ed should be a gold mine for real inclusion, a sexually ambiguous in the spectrum character, but because she doesn't care about it, they can't exploit her. Oh, I'm sure they can find a way. And Master Clockwork says for $5, Faye is 5'6", by the way, and of Singaporean descent, not a Latinx. I just have to say that a Latinx is an offensive term. Latina is the proper way of putting it. Yes. And Mitch Thibault says for $5 Canadian, they couldn't find someone to match Faye Valentine's measurements. Did they try any strip club? And yeah, you don't even have to go there. It's not that difficult.
Again, and again, I want to go to this other point. I mean, like, most fans will forgive certain things as long as you get somebody who just seems to capture the character, right? Like, there's tons of times where we brought up in this show that it doesn't really matter so much if they look the part so much as they feel the part. Again, she should have just kept her mouth shut or done like a little bit to prove to us that this is why she got the character, right? Otherwise, here's the other point. Like Andre will know, like, usually this is where you should send out your director or somebody like that to comment on it, not the actor. You need whoever it was that made the choice to say, no, this is the reason I chose this person. And hopefully you'll see why when the show comes out, but X reason, X reason, X reason. And I saw this and this part of the character in person and whatever, you know, like Hugh Jackman, you know, everybody will say he doesn't look like what Wolverine's supposed to look like, but everybody goes to Hugh Jackman for Wolverine now because
apparently don't say that to Jesse.
I was just gonna say outside of Jesse.
He's gonna appear right now.
Piss him off any more than he is already, probably. But anyway, yeah, no, that's the thing is, yes, it can be done. You just don't do it like this. You have a director go out there and say, this is why I chose this actress. Let them speak for you.
Yeah, pretty much. And then just to do some super chats we can bring up on screen. Dashtis wonders, so what is gaslighting?
Well, I put the actual definition in the chat, but gaslight is a verb. It means to manipulate someone by psychological means into questioning their own sanity. In the first episode, Karen Valentine is being gaslighted by her husband. That is a poor definition. But yeah, basically it's where you come up with a bunch of other shit to confuse the actual argument. Andre can probably explain it better, or Culture could.
Yeah, but we're not going to spend too much time on it. Basically, it is in this particular context, it is you having a very legitimate complaint and they are completely ignoring that complaint, saying you made another one and attacking you for it. That's kind of like what it is in this particular context. Another one we can bring up here on screen, Ron Herushin says for $5, funny thing is Ed was originally going to be a young black boy, but they changed her to a girl to even out the group. Yeah, well, there you go.
Well, there you go. And there's another the black character that then was changed out. Going back to what we were talking about with the Death Note earlier. Yeah, but no, my best example I can give you for gaslighting is like if you order a Coke and they bring you a Mellow Yellow and you say, excuse me, I ordered a Coke, not a Mellow Yellow. And they're like, oh, you just don't want it because your waitress was black.
No, yeah, or better yet, they're going to say, no, this is what you ordered. Maybe you thought you ordered something else, but this is what you really ordered. Going to try to make you question your own sanity.
Well, yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
it's manipulate to make you question yourself in unhealthy ways.
Yeah, that too.
And
oh, so it's being married but without the sex. Gotcha. Well, actually, isn't being married mean you don't have sex? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's
that depends on the marriage.
I was gonna say maybe it's different in Canada. I don't know.
But anyway, and then back to the classics. Or Diego, I know that real life is catching up.
Step out.
So you don't have too much time left.
Well, thank you for being here, Diego, and we appreciate your insight. It did help us get through this morning because, as you heard from the beginning, Andre and I are not up to speed with this whole show, but hopefully I will be soon. So thank you for helping out with that today. We appreciate it.
And it was a pleasure to actually participate and explain a bit more about this because we talked about it yesterday also at Midnight Jets in Español. And but in more detail, yes, because Pablo was there and he also watched it, so it's a bit more entertaining. But still, it's like this show is very important in so many ways because it's one of those that also defined the entrance of anime into the Western culture as well, because it was so not characteristic of Japan in culturally speaking, and that's why it entered so easily. And that's why I love it, and I don't want it to be changed.
Yeah.
So, well, as always, I just already mentioned, I'm on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Midnight Jets Español on our live streams where we talk about mostly in Spanish, and we also talk about many things as well here at Midnight Jets in pop culture and TV in general, as well as sometimes video games, sometimes anime. Depends on what's popping out around the world. See you then, and see you guys.
Yes, take care.
Thank you, Diego.
And then let's hear what you guys had to say in the super chats. Stephanie Janishek Smuggler's Cantina. She has some good news. Cobra Kai got renewed for a 5th season.
Yes, I saw that. I retweeted it out from what's this way, Martin Cove, who put it out on Twitter. Yes, so I'm excited about that. I think that they kind of figured that was going to happen. They already talked about it, but yeah, that's a good thing. I'm glad to hear it. Can't wait to see season 4 first.
Best series on TV. And then Jaeger says for $5, LOL Netflix. Literally just one job. Film what is in the anime shot for shot. Gain subscribers. Not hard, but they know better than all the fans. Yes, evidently they do. So I look forward to seeing their subscription numbers reflect that. And Mitch Thibault says for $10 Canadian. P.S. Attack on Titan is disturbing but amazing anime. The live-action adaptation was a waste of precious photons traveling from my TV all the way to my retinas. Culture, I want to hear your thought on Attack on the Titans, but first I have to say one thing. I have never read the manga comics. I've never seen like the anime, but I have seen the movie. And it could be because I don't have any kind of frame of reference there. But I freaking loved that movie. I thought it was amazing. It was really compelling. And those monster creatures I thought was really well done. Culture, what's your take on Attack on Titan? Well, then we'll have to do without this.
He hasn't seen enough of it. And I'm not up to speed with it either, so sadly I cannot comment on it.
Yeah, well, I will say, though, that as someone who is not familiar...
You need him?
As someone who's not familiar with any other incarnation of Attack on the Titan that has only seen the movies, I like the movies. And maybe I wouldn't if I knew the source material. But not knowing it, I did like those movies. And then The Wall said for $5, turning people off of their streaming service. Yeah, it's not like that ever happened before, which is a good point. Willie Woodward says for $4.99, probably with the cosplay argument, is that HW doesn't want to translate an IP, they want to put their own stamp on it and draw, not draw the ire of the prudes. I felt that came out wrong. I'm going to put it in the private chat here. Tom, see if you can maybe read it better. And Valiant is still listening, and he points out that Attack on Titan is excellent. Yes, what do you think about the movies? Let me know that. I absolutely love the movies there. But yeah, this super chat from I put it in the private chat. See if you can read it better than I did.
Is that HW doesn't want to translate an IP? They want to put their own stamp on it and not draw the ire of the prudes. I guess what it's trying to say is they want to do their own version and at the same time not get yelled at for it being too revealing.
Yeah, I guess. And then Carolina Ramos Fabian says for another 50 Mexican dollars. Thank you so much. Her attitude also proves that she didn't understand Faye. The attitude of the character has a motive and is a survival mechanism in response to her amnesia. Yes, that sounds like a very, very good point. That the actress, at least judging from what we've seen so far, missed. And hopefully there's more to it that we haven't seen. I would give her the benefit of the doubt, but still very low class to come out the way that she did. Hypergiver 2 says, I'll give her credit. She made Man-Fae look better. And you have no idea how difficult that is. If you haven't seen it, Google it. Man-Fae. Okay, I think I'll pass on Googling that myself. But for anyone who's up to the challenge, Google Man-Fae and see what Hypergiver 2 is talking about. George Forrest Jr. says for $4.99, fun fact, guys, this actress was written off of a CW show and was barely in Jurassic World 2. Well, maybe she's trying to make a name for herself, and so far she's certainly getting the headlines and press coverage, so success. Mr. Tickletrunk says for $5 Canadian, I'm not into anime and I don't know if this would have been good, bad, accurate to the source material, or changed. All I know is I won't watch it now. So yes, great success. That's how you market to the audience. And then we have Sepulchrenite. I hope I pronounced that approximately right. Says for $5, she should have ended at I apologize to the fans. Yet another Netflix show I won't be watching. Yeah, it appears that many are of that opinion. M. Bloodseeker says for $10, thank you so much. Netflix taught me to avoid live-action remakes of anime with Death Note. I will actively avoid the adaptation of Cowboy Bebop. So yeah, not an overwhelming vote of confidence in Netflix here in the chat. Mr. Tickletrunk says for another $5 Canadian, this is also what happens when the public gets to meet all of their heroes. For every good person, there seems to also be a jerk. She's a jerk. Yeah, this is not... she does not come out very well, we can say that. And Mexican Iron Man, our good friend, says for $19.99. Thank you so much. Daniela Pineda, that is the actress's name, said, what? I just dropped my inventory clipboard behind a forklift. Rant warning. I am confiscating her Latina card and issuing a Caton card. I am sick of these moron actors voicing dumb opinions. Good Lord. So, yeah, that's doing great for her own rep there. Nice going. And Joker Voice says for Tom, you have to do. I'll send it in the private chat,
right.
so you can do it in the proper Joker voice.
Okie dokie. Kevin Smith let us know that Netflix has so much content they do not. Let me try that again. Kevin Smith let us know that Netflix has so much content they do not care about the fans. Are we really surprised by this behavior? No, not surprised.
Exactly. And Dash D says, is she vying for a Ryan Johnson movie by chance? You
Yeah,
know,
she wants
he's
to get
working
in-
with Netflix, so
Yeah, I
they'll
was just
be
gonna
like
say-
in the same wheelhouse.
Yeah, I was just gonna say maybe she's trying to get into a Knives Out 2 or 3.
Yeah, or 4 or 5. Wasn't it like a
I
5
don't
movie
know. It was
deal
a
or
couple
something
movie
like that?
deal at least, and I'm just like, yeah, that Star Wars shit ain't happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a trilogy. Yeah, Knives Out 1, 2, and 3. Yep.
Oh my god, I hated the first one even.
Well, you're gonna get 2 more.
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna be watching them. And then Dash Attack, our good friend, says for $9.99, if you need an anime expert, I would be happy to help you guys out as a guest. The only problem is my schedule, but it's so strange. The actual Netflix anime isn't woke, but live action is.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, in terms of guest appearance, we'll keep you in mind. We'll keep you in mind that that you know anime, because this is something of a weak spot for Tom and myself. So we need guests there. In terms of anime, if they're actually doing the anime or these days, then yeah, that is strange. I mean, just look at He-Man that they did and see what happened with that. But live action done under their watch. I'm already dreading Sandman, which I never thought I would say, but here we are. And then let's see if there's any others we can bring up on screen. Oh yes, here we go. Adam THM says for $4.99, Attack on Titan has a Game of Thrones like ending in the manga. Now, I don't know the ending to Game of Thrones in the books. I hope it doesn't have the ending of Game of Thrones in the series.
Them
because,
books ain't never getting done.
No, of course they ain't never getting done. So like, I would certainly would avoid referencing Game of Thrones and ending in any kind of positive sense. And if Attack on Titan has a Game of Thrones like ending in the manga, that's not a ringing endorsing for the manga. At least it doesn't sound like it to me. But yeah, and then we got Valiant Renegade there. Yeah, and then we have E_Megas says Cowboy Bebop started as a merchandise concept, but director Shinichiro Watanabe got out of it, so it was completely original.
Gotcha.
Yeah, okay, yeah. There's many interesting ways for a concept to start.
Then Dash Dees let us know what the title of the third Knives Out movie is going to be called. It's No Audience Required. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
But bump.
I think that's also the subtitle for the new Bond film.
Yeah.
I let it fly.
Yeah, no, because who the hell cares about the new Bond film at this point? I mean, if there's one movie everyone has written off, it's that one.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then we still have more super chats to go through here. Kevin UK 100 says for £5, if you as an actor need to have it written into your contract that you shouldn't attack your potential audience, then it's too late for you. And yeah, but the question is it too late for the employer? Regardless of what it is for the actor. I mean, it's the employer that has to protect themselves there. John W says for $5, the woke crowd don't watch anime, period. They have no idea what Cowboy Bebop is. Oh no, but they do know that if they can make the fans cry, that will give them joy. And Mr. Tickledrunk says for $5 Canadian, when the project flops, they also have a scapegoat. It's not us. We did a good job. It's the toxic fans. And yeah, that's exactly right. That's the go-to, and we see it with He-Man already. Willie Woodward says for $4.99, yes, Andre, you're right. Common sense states that there's no such thing as bad press. Also, it makes them seem hip to trash talk fans, unfortunately so. Darius Münchhausen sent us a popcorn super sticker. And The Wall says for $20, thank you so much. Problem is that the people in charge doing this believe they can indoctrinate children, so they will be comfortable with all of this 10 to 15 years down the road. They think they are financially secure enough for this. Well, let's hope it turns out that they're not. And Raging Golden Eagle says for $5, too little, too late. As long as any of the activists that proudly hate my guts are employed there, they will never see my money again. So I'm guessing that Raging Golden Eagle is not currently a Netflix subscriber. And Erik Runge Madsen says for 20 Danish krona, tusen takk, the Netflix adaptation meme is true. Eric Winberg says for $2, hail panel and chat. Yes, hail all. And Benson Davido says for $5, this Star Wars is racist. They treated Finn was a scared minstrel show fool. Benicio del Toro was a thief, and Rose was a submissive anime girlfriend. Yeah, that's all true. And before we move on with these super chats, Tom, we had, on the note of Star Wars, we had a Star Wars story for today as well, didn't we?
Yeah, not a huge one.
Not a huge one, but it's one that this seems like a good time to bring up.
Here we have a situation where this actress is not wrong per se, but she probably could have.
Let's go through what the story is for those that are just listening and rather than watching.
Let's talk about it here. Thandie Newton calls her solo character death a big mistake in candid comments.
Yes, and this would then be Thandie Newton, who appeared on screen, and I forget the character's name, but she appeared on screen in Solo, a Star Wars story. And she was also killed off on screen in Star Wars, or in Solo, a Star Wars story. She did not take kindly to that. And in a new interview, she made her thoughts on that known when she told, and this is brought to us by Collider, but it wasn't recorded by them, but they have the quote though. That's what it originally was, that the explosion and she falls out and you don't know where she's gone. So I could have come back at some point. So in the original version, she appears to die, but you don't actually see her die. So it was possible that she could come back. But when we came to filming, as far as I was concerned and was aware, when it came to filming that scene, it was too huge a set piece to create. So they just had me blow up and I'm done. But I remembered at the time thinking, this is a big, big mistake. Not because of me, but because I wanted to come, not because I wanted to come back, but because you don't kill off the first black woman ever to have a real role in a Star Wars movie. Like, are you fucking joking? So here we have another black actress then speaking out against Lucasfilm and the treatment of her character on screen. She obviously isn't the first to do this. I mean, there's John Boyega, who, as the previous super chat pointed out, was almost given the minstrel-like treatment. After like being setting up to be like a huge thing in The Force Awakens, he was sent off on a stupid side quest for the Last Jedi and straddled with Miss Potato Sack. And what did he do in the final movie again? He was trying to say something to Rey and he never got to say it.
He's the Force.
Yeah, and he never even got to say that. So yeah, kind of a waste
I'm
of
the force,
character.
Ray.
This seems to be par for the course of with Lucasfilm, though. Now, Cultured, you've seen this story. What do you think about it? Does Thandie Newton have a reason to suddenly speak out? And do they have a problem with Lucasfilm for continuously mistreating their black characters so?
This is motivated by something else. I mean, there must be a project that she really wants to get in the door on. Something. This would have fallen under Iger's, tenure as the CEO. It still is, has Kathleen Kennedy in charge. They do. I mean, there is a point to be made for the fact that
Kathleen Kennedy don't like black people.
I didn't use those words. No, I didn't say that. But I'm saying that there seems to be some consistency in
Somebody cut me the clip of Kanye West, but make him say Kathleen Kennedy.
There you go. It just yeah, she has a point. But at the same time,
she kind of does.
Yeah,
there is no other. Andre and I sat there and we tried to think about it. There is no other major black female characters in Star Wars to this point.
No.
I mean, movie aside, she does have a fucking point here.
Well, they've had many opportunities to do this, and they had 5 films, to do better. Right? Oh, I'm using their term, but they didn't, and I'm still frustrated that they. I'm still upset about the original 3 films, which is 3 films, or the Disney trilogy of films, but she has a point. You can't get around it. It wasn't just a big mistake, right? If they did it off camera, if it would have been a presumption, maybe it would have been better. And you know what, Lindsay, you're right. They turned a major character into a janitor and then kind of left him in the janitor position in the two films. They've done so poorly with these characters that they themselves have created, and they've polluted the characters from before. But no, Thandie's right. I mean, that's the simple answer here. And with that, I do have to head out because I do have another obligation here shortly. No, and I appreciate it. And I, sometimes I'm tongue tied because I don't know what else I can offer when it's easy to agree, on so many of these subjects. But I did have a great time here. I'm very grateful to be one of your regular guests from time to time. So I appreciate that. And to those of you in the chat, if you're not checking out my channel or my new Twitch, by the way, which I started up here a couple days ago, do swing by, check it out, throw me a follow or a subscription. That would be wonderful if you enjoy it. If you don't, hey, thanks for checking it out anyway. Other than that, be well, everybody, and take care of yourself, and I will see you soon. Thank you.
Everyone, go check out Culture Casino, and thanks so much for joining us today.
Always
a pleasure to have you on.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you both, and have a great day.
All right. I think she kind of has a point here, Andre.
She kind of does, because
there's been two incidences specifically that we know between John Boyega and this now that are, you can kind of draw a parallel.
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. There really is. There really has. Like when we first saw this comment, I was like thinking, nah, that can't be right. And I started thinking, oh yeah, there's actually something to this.
Because like we said,
something to this.
And I haven't seen anybody in the chat come up with, I mean, there might be a black character in the extended universe, but I've not even seen anybody go, oh, well, there's this character. And I know.
And also, in her quote, what she said was a meaningful character, like a real character. Yeah, of course, you had like background characters and like bit parts and stuff. But
I'm trying to think of that one Jedi. I can't think of her name, but she was in the prequels, and I believe she was a black actress, but she was painted green and she had the tentacles and shit. So, like, again, I mean,
does it count them in that
that's
case?
The question, right? Well, yes, Brad DL, we know Mace Windu and Lando, but they're men. That's the thing here, is that they're men, and we're noticing a pattern with Kathleen Kennedy here in her movies, right? She sidelined Finn, or at least let Ryan Johnson sideline Finn.
I don't think she did it deliberately, though.
No.
I think and that's like the truly insidious. I mean, that's when people talk about like systemic racism is the thing that you don't really think about, and that's kind of like what we have like here. It's like the black character isn't given any kind of respect even in the scripting stage. It's like, yeah, okay, well, throw her off the train and then gone. Don't have to worry about her anymore.
And Red Canon again between Shakti and Ahsoka. That's a good question. Do they count since they're wearing makeup? I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, Rosario Dawson now, though, yes, and that was the point we were just making, Stephanie. I know you're a few seconds behind, so you probably didn't hear the point yet. But no, I think it's more saying, or I think it speaks more, I should say, to how they claim to be so virtuous, but yet they haven't really done so, right? Like going in, like Paulie was making a big point about how there was a Latina actress overlooked for Rey. Why? Probably just because she didn't remind Kathleen Kennedy enough of herself.
Yeah, probably because Kathleen Kennedy evidently sees herself as this British upper class Rey-looking like woman, and she evidently didn't see that in this Latina actress that was then overlooked for the part of Rey.
Yeah, and then there was the girl who played Memphis Nest, but I can't think of her name, but she was also in the recent Marvel series too, or whatever. But no, is she going to get any notice for this? Probably not. Like, that's the thing; it's going to get buried into a lot of other things because Disney's not going to want this black eye. But do you think anything's going to come of this, or do you think?
No, I don't think nothing is going to come out of it. The only way something is going to come out of it is if she right now is in talks for a Disney role in general and a Lucasfilm role in particular, and it's between her and a number of other actresses, this thing is going to put her over the edge and make sure she gets it. That's the yeah.
Speaking of getting it, though, Mecca J does get my little joke earlier. Kanye West, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't care about black people. That's the joke I was making. Yes. Thank you for getting it. Chad Rupnarine? Am I saying that right?
I would imagine.
I'm pretty close. Has nobody noticed that Ed isn't listed anywhere on Cowboy Bebop IMDb? Yeah, people were bringing that up earlier that we have not seen that character yet.
I would imagine that they have deliberately withheld that information because they're waiting for a later reveal. Because it's up to the studio when they decide to make that information public. So either the character isn't there or they haven't released that information yet. And I'm inclined to believe the latter. And I also think that ties in with why you haven't seen seen the character yet, because they probably want one disaster at a time. I don't think that they want to bring out all the negative stuff that fans are going to freak out about. I think they're going to wait for this to pass a little bit. Then it's going to be the next thing. Then you're going to see like the race spending that's gone on there. Possibly, and then Dash D's points out that Mara Jade was black for a while, and yeah, that can be. But again, that I don't know nothing about that. But again, the point was here on the big screen. There hasn't been any real black characters.
The only other one I thought of, Brad DL brought up too, the Twi'lek Dancer. That's the only other one I could think of when Andre and I were talking to. Other than, like I said, all the characters that are under tons of makeup and shit. So I mean, I think she does have a little bit of a point here. Yes, they've had major black characters, but not women. So she does have something. And I think this speaks more to the modern Star Wars as I said, it's a pattern we're seeing. Mark Ashamed. Jesus, I can't even speak today. The Spike Jet and Ed Fay romance has crawled its way out from the pit of Rule 34. Oh. Well, there you go, kids, if you're curious to find that kind of stuff. Gasser Verlot says Mace Windu and Lando, and also Siri from Jedi Fallen Order, movie-wise, they were too busy focusing on Rey. They forgot about everyone else. That's what I'm saying.
That's
That's
exactly
what I'm saying,
happened.
Oscar, is that
I don't think that there
Yeah.
was any in malicious intent.
yeah.
I think it was more like, oh shit, like we genuinely forgot about that.
Yeah, it was just it was more like, I mean, there may have been look. All right, I'm not going to go down that road. Anyway, Dr. Long Dongler.
Yeah,
says-
before that, Goskar Farad, thank you for the $20 donation. We
Yes,
really,
thank you
really
so much for that,
appreciate
yeah.
that. So thanks so much for that.
But we also got a super sticker here that I can kind of sort of bring up on screen, even though it's kind of pointless because they don't let you see the sticker. That's another thing, StreamYards, but that's down the list.
Yeah, but that's only us. Like you guys watching, you see it. It's
You can
just
see
us.
them.
Yeah, it's only us here in our window that can't see it.
But thank you for that. And then that's the last of the ones I can bring up on screen.
Yes.
And yes,
was it Long Dongler? That's the one that.
Yes, Long Dongler.
Yes. Yeah.
And Darcipio, not only can Andre read English better than Tom, he can speak better than it. Like 9 times out of 10, I don't usually correct Andre because he's probably right.
And Pat Finch also says, you are forgetting Jolie Bindo from Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic video game. Well, I haven't played the Knights of the Old Republic
It's not
video
on the
game.
Sega
It's just
Mega
not
Drive.
on the Sega Mega Drive. But if she's black, then again, it's not really the point. She was talking about lead black actresses on screen. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And going back to the classic super chats though.
Yeah. Going back to the classic super chats, so everyone, if we haven't gotten to yours yet, it is coming. We're not leaving a single super chat behind.
No super chat is left behind.
Exactly, which is a motto that someone else I could think of really should be learning these days without getting any more into that. Eric Winberg says for $2, hail panel and chat. And Federico Liechtenstein says for 5,000 Chilean, I guess, says Chile, anime is expressionistic. Trying to adapt to live action is like taking a picture and trying to pass it as a Monet. And yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the style is deliberate. Master Clockwork says, now go watch Samurai Champloo. Can I watch Samurai Cop? Because I know what that is. And Brightest Day says, thanks again, Larena. And it's awesome whenever she has the time to come in. And then Mexican Iron Man is back again for another $19.99. And he says, earbuds in. And my client wants to know why I look pissed off while I'm doing this inventory. What do I tell him? Modern Latina women are Karen trash. Yeah, I'll go with that. P.S. When you shower, you should check crevices. Oh, Mike is awesome. So, yeah, well, you've answered your own question there. There you have what you can.
It also shows you how she views. It also shows you how she views the original anime, right? Like she said, oh, she's wearing basically tissue paper. Like, okay, so you're insinuating that they're objectifying this character. That's awesome.
She also makes me wonder what kind of crevices she has, but that's neither here nor there.
Hey, I'm a fat kid. You got to make sure crevices are clean,
And Mr. Tickletrunk says for $5 Canadian, maybe we should change James Bond and all of those shirtless Marvel movie men. They're also not realistic. Well, I think that they have changed them. Haven't loads of muscle been removed in the comics lately? Aren't they they've
been getting more
more
binary,
more sluggish,
non-binary or whatever,
yeah, exactly. Some of the women, you remember that picture of Captain Marvel, where she looked like an outright pig.
Yeah.
I was
and then there was the Wonder Woman one too, and a few of the other ones.
Yeah, like body positive, and yeah. So, Mr. Tickletrunk, be careful with what you ask for, because that's already happening. And Dolben says for $5, no more femme fatales who use their brains and appeal to seduce the men, rather than just punch them. And I would like to add to that, knock them out with one blow, no matter how tiny they may be. And Mr. Tickletrunk also says the actress hired because of her looks. So
right? That's
so,
another
yeah.
thing that I always love about this whole thing. It's like, don't objectify women, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. It's like, as you're in a industry where you're being paid because you're a pretty person. It's
Yeah.
like,
And Mr. Tickletrunk, he's back with even more. And as you might have noticed, he actually says super chatted quite a lot today. And on that, he said, I am super chatting so much because I'm in a mood now. Her straw man is the size of a mountain. When people don't represent concerns accurate, I go nuclear. And yeah, can't blame you. And that's where
well,
the gaslighting part of it comes into the picture.
best thing about a straw man is it burns down easy.
Yeah, well, depends on who you have helping you to perpetuate it. And the entertainment media complex, unfortunately, is guilty in keeping those strawmans alive and well, which is dreadful. But yeah, that's where we are. And the Creative Time Traveler says for £4.99 or £4.49. Thank you so much. Disney needs to start employing people who understand basic business 101. Yeah, here's to hoping that Bob Chapek may be one of those people. That would solve a lot. And then Irish John sent us $5 to keep on keeping on, which we shall do that. Thanks for your support. Chrono2959 says for $5, they told us from the inception of television, it's televised programming. The money is secondary. Its main purpose is to program the masses. So yeah, it's hard to agree or hard to disagree with that. And Daniel says for $20, thank you so much for helping us out here. These companies want to exploit true fans for their initial growth. After they reach critical mass, they believe they can change over to the general audience and jettison their original customers. We see this in gaming too. And yeah, that is a pretty common strategy, isn't it?
Well, and the other side of it too is, if it's not to clear us out so it can be a safe space for all the new fans that don't really exist, it's their way of shaming us into, in their eyes, changing us, right? It goes along with that restaurant analogy that we like to use, Andre, where eventually their argument goes from, oh, it's a steak, you're just seeing it the wrong way, the gaslighting thing. It's like, no, it's a fucking fish. I know a fish when I see one. It smells like a fish, tastes like a fish, looks like a fish. And they're like, yeah, well, it's better for you than the steak you ordered. See, they've gone from trying to just like say, oh, because remember a couple of years ago, it's, oh, you're full of shit. These things are not happening. You're just old and you're a this and a that, a istophobe, blah, 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 blah. Now they're saying, oh yeah, you're an istophobe and that's why you don't like it. Like, it's like, yeah, we're doing this and it's good for you. And this is the way you should, da, 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 da. It's like, no, don't tell me how I should fucking react to something, because that's the other side of it too, is it goes right into the whole Cowboy Bebop thing. Is they're totally missing the point of people's arguments again and again and again, along with everything else. We brought up the Doctor Who thing, right? Like when we talked to TARDIS Zone and stuff like that, it's like they could have done some really cool, fun stuff with having Doctor Who be a woman, right? They could have made a big deal out of it in a sense of like, he's never been a woman before and just have fun with that. But instead they made it into a preaching, virtue signaling fucking expedition instead. And it's like, that's this whole fucking thing that we're dealing with right now. And we've been calling it a manufactured trend because that's exactly what it is, right? It's a forced trend down the throats of everyone. And to those who actually want this trend, they don't give a shit about these properties. So that's the other side of it. That's why shit like Star Trek is being all quote unquote made cool now, because they know that the people that they're trying to attract wouldn't watch Star Trek anyway. So they're trying to do everything they can to try and get him to do it, but it's not going to get him to do it. It's like trying to get a vegetarian to eat a Big Mac. It's just not going to happen. No matter what you do to it, aside from changing that meat into something else, it's not going to get that individual to eat it. And that still doesn't necessarily guarantee they're going to like it. So that's where we're at again with the restaurant analogies, because I'm hungry.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, we're going to grab some dinner here soon. But before then, I want to address the question on screen. Not the super chat, but whenever we catch really good questions, as you know, we do highlight them. Brian Barth wonders, Tom and Andre, when is all this woke nonsense going to end? When will movies go back to normal?
I wish we
Tom,
did.
what's your take on it?
I'm sure you're gonna have a much more nuanced take on it, so I'll keep it quick. Hopefully we're on the path now, but the last couple of years events have really fucked with. Every time we seem like we're getting on that right path, shit changes. But hopefully, Cameron and Script and Andre and Valiant and others who have kind of came to this conclusion about Chapek and even Culture Casino and stuff like that. Hopefully all are right. I see it. I understand. And I think as long as what he's trying to do works, the rest of Hollywood will take note. Now, do I think he's trying to be all anti non-woke or
To be clear, we're talking about Bob Chapek now, just for anyone who might have missed that.
Yeah, did I say the wrong name?
I don't recall you saying Chapek, which is why I just wanted to highlight that.
I thought I did, but maybe I didn't.
Well, probably you did, but just to extra highlight it, that we're talking about Chapek's changes to Disney.
Yeah, if what he's doing works, then you might see, the rest of Hollywood kind of take note.
If he's able to do it without being ousted first.
Exactly. That's the problem we have here, is everybody's painting him as this big baddie right now. And again, it's all a matter of, I don't know. It's hard to talk about this without getting into things that we normally don't talk about on Midnight's Edge, or could actually get us booted off of YouTube.
Yes,
but I will say
this. Here.
I have noticed a few things in the last couple weeks that have really took a swing. So things I can mention that can kind of give you an idea. You have people like Whoopi Goldberg speaking out about cancel culture. You have certain movements that are under microscopes and under fire right now because of a lot of scrutiny and controversies. I'm trying to find the right words for this shit. Basically, let's just say a lot of movements that kind of started a lot of where we're at are kind of being questioned. And not even to get to the political side of things. Things are really kind of... So a lot of people are tired of seeing the hypocrisy. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah, but people are increasingly starting to be fed up, which of course that's the beginning, but it's not the end. It's not enough
exactly
to be fed up. It's going to take more. It's going to take an active freaking effort.
And I wish I didn't have to be cryptic, Dr. Meatball, but unfortunately on this...
We do have to, because if we're not cryptic, that's channel gone.
Exactly, yep. Yeah.
I mean, we could explain in detail exactly why this is happening, and the channel would be gone 10 minutes later. So we're not going to do that. So we're just going to have to be a little bit cryptic here. What I can say is that when is it going to disappear? When will things go back to normal, quote unquote? I don't think things will ever go back to what you considered normal. And what's going to happen in the next few months, in the next couple of years, is going to really radically change which direction society moves forward. What we're seeing with all this wokeness, if you will, it's funded. And the moment it will change is when it's no longer funded, and when those that try to force it in there no longer have the same kind of influence that they have, and that can happen in a number of different ways. The best one would be if the money dries up and then the studios have to become for-profit corporations again. That alone would do it. Just shifting towards what the audience actually wants, which is why the audience have to vote with their consumer behavior, vote against every single woke product and support everything that isn't that. If that were to happen, then things will be better 2 years later, because that's the turnaround time. Yeah. So, for instance, if everyone that were trying to push all this woke agenda stuff, if they were to lose right now and a new regime would try to make money from tomorrow, you'd see the change in 2 years. So it's whenever someone decides that this woke thing is no longer working out for us, plus 2 years.
Yeah.
Best answer I can give.
And then you have the other side of it is the China business, right? Like the industry's really starting to realize that was a bad deal. And there's some really freaky shit going on there. There's like an actress who's being erased right now over there and shit. Like, I'm not even.
Yeah, that's what. Oh, you talk about cancel culture over here. Hell, that's nothing. I'm talking about cancel culture in China. That's another story that I'm not even sure we should talk about it. Yeah, I'm sure we can mention it a tiny little bit.
Well, did I send it to you or not? Because I saw it this morning. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding
me? Yeah, no, I'm in that group.
Yeah, okay. So, I saw him independently. Oh, so she sent it to you too? But
yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about then, at least.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Go ahead.
Yeah, bring it up on screen.
All right, I'll go get it. Go ahead and you can set it up at least while I'm grabbing it.
No, because basically here in the West, we have cancel culture, which basically is that someone expresses an opinion or acts in a manner which is rightly or wrongly deemed to be unacceptable. And then the cancel culture bit then comes in the punishment. Then you must be completely excommunicated from everything and unpersoned in every way. The people that are for cancel culture, they will not only have you apologize, they will come for your job.
Well, this is a different one altogether.
They will they want to see you be homeless in the street, crying in a ditch. Then they'll be happy, so they can laugh at you. That's their goal. However, you'll still be there, and if you have an audience and stuff like that, you can't be truly canceled because you have something else to fall back on. But the big thing is that you have someone actively working to take you down. But here in the West, that's like different independent people and stuff like that. In China, doesn't work quite like that. There's one party that does the cancellation, and that's the CCP. If you speak out against the authorities there, they will cancel you proper, as in erasing any trace you ever freaking existed.
Yeah, and this is actually a totally different story. This is a different actress. They mentioned the one that I was talking about in here. I don't know how to. I'm gonna fucking butcher the name, but Zhang Shang. That's the one that I read about. This Vicky Zhao Wei is a totally different one. I didn't know about this one. So yeah, there's apparently 2 actresses that are being completely scrubbed in China. Talk about cancel culture, like you were saying. Holy crap!
China, because what they do, so carry on the story.
I was just going to read real quick here. China announced further steps to control celebrity fan culture, which regulators say has become chaotic. The moves came as one of China's most prominent stars, Vicky Zhao Wei, was scrubbed from the internet, and another star, female actor Zhang Shuang, was punished for tax scandal. The Cyberspace Administration of China on Friday issued a pair of connected notices. In one, it said that it would take punitive action against the spread of harmful information in celebrity fan groups. Discussion channels may be shut down. In the second move, the CAC announced draft regulations for internet recommendation algorithms. It wants to halt algorithms that encourage users to spend large amounts of money or spend money in a way that may disrupt public order. Internet companies must make it harder to create fake user accounts, make it easier for users to turn off recommendation systems. Okay, that is, let's see here. Oh, wow, this goes on and on. Are we going to read this whole thing? Okay.
No, just go through the main bits.
Okay, well, let's go to this. Celebrities have been especially targeted by the crackdown. Superstar singer-actress Chris Wu has been arrested following allegations of assault, and as a consequence, his internet presence has been largely deleted. Another star, Zhang Zhehan, who was accused of hurting Chinese feelings after posing for photos at Tokyo's notorious. I'm sorry to laugh. I know I shouldn't, but it's like, really?
Well,
Wow.
it sounds hilarious to us, but I mean,
I know that's what it's the irony I'm laughing at.
but that's a look into true
Right?
authoritarianism. That's a look into not only the beginning of 1984, but when it's fully implemented. We're like, oh, you spoke against everything. Well, and you're an actor. Okay, now we're going to digitally remove you from the movies that you've been in before. And we're even going to scrub any mention of you of the internet. It'll be like you never existed.
Well, anyway, Zhang has also been forced out of the entertainment industry on top of having all of his films and TV series deleted by broadcasters and streaming platforms. And I'm assuming if you own any of his videos, they're probably considered contraband. Now, Variety's sister publication, WWD, reported that Zhao, a film and TV star who has appeared in Shaolin Soccer and Red Cliff, is also being banished. Her name is being edited out of the 1990s made and still hugely popular TV series My Fair Princess by video platformings including Tencent Video, Ikiwi, I ain't gonna try it, and Yoku. WWD says it is unclear why Zhao, the face of Italian fashion brand Vendi in China, is currently being canceled. It speculates that her fate may be linked to an ongoing investigation into a senior officer in Hangzhou. Am I saying that right? Probably not. The city that is home to Alibaba. Zhao is close to Jack Ma, the co-founder of Alibaba, who has endured nearly a year of state-orchestrated attacks after publicly criticizing China's financial regulatory system. So yeah, the only one in here that sounds like so far that's, somebody who's done anything bad is plausibly the alleged assault case. But outside of that, I'm stretching to see, like, this shit's insane. And even if it was an assault case, that doesn't necessitate scrubbing somebody from existence. I mean, holy shit. This is crazy, kids. This is where we're headed.
Yeah, I wish I could say that. Nah, don't be paranoid. But if I said that, I'd be lying.
Jesus. Anyway, back to super chats, please. Get my mind away from that.
Yeah. Moving on with the super chats. Then we have Mr. Tickle Trunk, who says people flipped out over the Witcher's costuming. Again,
yeah, a lot of the women thought he was wearing way too much.
Yeah. And Stalin Falcon says, and yet this actress has no problem wearing braless plunge cuts on the red carpet. She can chew on sausage. So not much sympathy there. And Brightest Day says for $2, why is sex their default unit of measure? Because they don't get enough of it, maybe. And Terminator Joe says for $5, Faye is an interesting character because she's kind of like Cap, because she is 77 years old, put on ice, but is in debt due to the cost of her operation. Oh, I had no idea. That's actually pretty cool.
Spoilers, guys.
And Edgardo Martinez says for 4,000 COP. I think that's Chilean. I have to check that later. But then he also says Lilu used less clothes and her scenes were cool. Now, if you're referring to Lilo in The Fifth Element, Lilo was badass. And yeah, that's how you do it. Yeah. SRP Ghost says for $5, fans complained about Sonic and they changed it. It became one of the most successful video game movies ever. Shocked Pikachu face. Yeah, there you go. And Roof Korean the Based says for $5, most of the good shows were written and paid for long before the current day. ESG score is the new metric used by banks to determine funding. Started 2020. And yeah, ESG is a horrible, horrible thing. We'll get into that in a later video, I think. Just know that that's a big part of the reason why everything is so dreadful right now. Mr. Tickletrunk says for $5 more, Twitter has made people feel comfortable in their own ideas. Humility and grace are all but dead online. Hollywood fame is more gasoline on that fire. And yeah, you're not wrong. And Darth DJJD says, remember Daniel Craig as Bond, Heath Ledger as Joker. Yes, and remember, those were the exceptions that proved the rule.
No, but I think he brought that up as the point of when it came up was when we were talking about ones that don't really look like the characters or whatever. But yeah, still. Anyway.
Yeah. And Daniel said Lorena dropped a golf analogy in defense of nerdom. Be still my heart. John Cream says, have you guys talked about the new reboot of Saints Row featuring soy hipsters trying to pay down student debt?
The fuck?
Fan base almost universally hates it.
You're not kidding? Holy shit.
We have not talked about it, but
wow.
but it sounds like we're about
I thought
to.
that was like what Babylon B fucking type shit.
And then Sean Carter said 1,000+ people watching and not enough likes. Come on, people, lick that like button. So yeah, of course we're down to like 800 something now because we've been doing super chats the last half an hour almost. Hey, Fatal J is here. Hey, Fatal, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, send him a link if you can. Meanwhile, the Divina Duckworth points out over 18,000 downvotes on Saints Row last night. Wow,
I didn't know that was real shit.
Yeah, I don't even know what the hell that is.
But then again, can you? Well, in this world and day and age, you can never tell what's real and what's not half the time with those kind of things.
Yeah. And STR Red Wolf points out, don't lick the like button, smash it hard.
Just don't smash it too hard.
Yeah. Also, Lindsay also offers sucking as an option, but as long as it's pressed one way or the other.
That's funny.
So yeah, and no, Lindsay, stay. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome to be here. So. Mr. Tickletrunk, he has also other ideas for what to do with that like button. So yeah.
Hit that like button like you're flicking your bean. All right. What else we got here, Andre?
Yes, what else we got here indeed? Yum, eat me up. Which I so love having to read out without being able to put it on screen, says, the outfit is one of a myriad of problems this show has. From its cheap backgrounds of its... Oh, okay, we got that one.
Because I pronounced myriad wrong. And 30 people had to correct me.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. But yeah, because here's a couple of those that we did get while we were there. So I'm just going to try to get back to where we were in there. Just give me... there we are. And then C-Set says for £5, wouldn't be surprised if her statement was bait. Beware of hit pie articles in the next few days, calling everyone sexist, ignoring valid criticism. Oh, of course, we already got one in Salon. You know, like that misandrist rag. They were all already out celebrating her comments and trashing any and all men that might have an issue with the series for whatever reason. Dashty says for $5 I happened upon the actress's video without knowing about Bebop. That little snot bag would make me not care in the slightest about watching. I think we got this one already. And Morgan King says for $20 thank you so much. And what he's about to say is something really important. I feel like saying to Netflix, if they want me to get a subscription, they will have to treat fans better. Until then, I'll give you my money. Oh yeah, we got this one. Thank you so much. The Wall says they will get rid of Edward or do a race change. After all, she is a ginger. Yeah, we got that one too. The Hawk 666 says for $9.99. Did you hear that Avatar: The Last Airbender is going to be a live action reboot, also on Netflix, I believe? I heard too that they're going to reboot Interview with a Vampire into a TV show on AMC. Yeah, that they're working on. How far along is that, Tom?
On the which one?
On the Interview with the Vampire.
I don't know how far along they are, but the internet lost its mind the last few days over the casting. That I know, because I totally forgot all about it until then, to be honest with you. But considering they're doing casting, that means they're probably pretty close to filming then, or they're already in the midst.
And Ron Harushin said for $10, they still used the design they were going to use for Ed in one of the episodes when Spike goes back to see someone from this past. It's one of the kids that tries to steal an adult book. Okay. And ActionCom points out that Gaslight comes from a play of the same name about a husband torturing his wife by making her think she's crazy. Yeah, that's the origin of it, and right now it's being done by the media towards the populace, both the entertainment media and otherwise, without going too much into that. And then we got that one. And E_Megas said, Andre, I follow many Japanese entertainment people on Twitter. I referred you to some in the past. I recommend getting a lunar archivist on as a guest. Okay, I shall check that out. I shall make a note of that right now. See, there we have copied that name, a lunar archivist. And then moving on. Stephanie Janishek, Smuggler's Cantina, says it's too little, too late, Thandy. And yeah, I don't think much is going to happen with it. And then, let's see, we got that one. We got that one. We got that one. And Master Clockwork said for $5, the concept of black and white characters is pure projection. In Star Wars, you have races and home planets. Han Solo is Corellian, not some white guy. And yeah, that's a point. I was always curious about that myself, though, the origins of the different people groups. But yeah, that's another story. Hypergiver 2 said, cosplayers always do it better, and we literally do what takes HW entire teams of people to do, and we don't have the space, budgets, and formal training. Melvin Belliard said for $10, the character of Edward is a big character on the show. She's a hacker and is a fun character between the actress and this. Fun character. And between the actress and this, I don't have much faith in the show. And yeah, I agree. I think that's... I don't think this is going to win many people over to it on Netflix. Fear Sundown says China's 800 million rom-com Hi Mom, biggest movie of the year. Yeah, I bet it's a Chinese homemade movie because they're watching their own movies now. Oggy Ben Doggy says, woke us a shell game. Warwolf says, hey China, ever been kicked in the nuts? Yeah, they have by Japan, but not recently, and they're not gonna be in the near future either, not by this administration.
That goes back to a Mead joke. Werewolf was saying he wants to create a character where all the character does is the superhero announces he's going to kick you in the nuts, and then he kicks you in the nuts.
Sounds like a cool character. I think I saw something on South Park.
Call him Rochambeau.
Yeah, nice one. Mr. Tickle Trunk also says Disney thanked a moral, upstanding government. Yeah, Disney, they sure did. They thanked the most upright government there is for helping them film in this beautiful locations for Mulan.
Mulan,
And everything that went with it, yeah. And Spider Unlimited says for $4.99, thanks panel, I ordered Cowboy Bebop for $30 on Amazon. Time to dive down the rabbit hole. Yeah, Tom will be doing so pretty soon here as well. And with that, let's see, with that we are not quite up to date. We have one more here. Let's see if we can bring it up on screen. Yes, we can. Jesus Davila says, hail Andre, hail Tom, and hail chat. Thank you all for keeping me informed and entertained. Oh, well, we do our best, and thank you for being here, watching and engaging with us and with everyone else in the chat. So yeah, thanks to each and every single one of you, and of course, thanks to the guests that joined us today. Both Lorena, Cultured Casino, and Valiant Renegade. It's always a pleasure when all of them can join, and the links will be in the description to all of them before long here. So, Tom, did we have anything else to
Well,
go
we had that
through?
editorial, but you said you were going to do an editorial of it on your own.
Yeah,
You
I'll
know
do an
what? Why don't we
editorial
just
on it.
save it for that? We talked about it last night on Midnight's Edge After Dark. If you want to know what we talked about, go ahead and check that out. In the last part of the show, we brought up the editorial that we're discussing from one of the showrunners of Cobra Kai and show creators. So check that out. But I think Andre's going to have a really interesting editorial to talk about that as well coming up here soon. So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have that up by this weekend, maybe.
Yes, we'll do our best for that.
Other than that, no, I had nothing else to really add. I'm hungry and Sadie wants to go out. So
yeah, well, then I think it's time for some koalas in the rain.
I believe it is. All I got to do is find the button. Button. Who has the button? I know, Sadie.
Koalas in the rain. Koalas in the rain. No fucks given. Koalas in the rain.